1 week ago, Mark Martin outlasted the Martinsville Mayhem to become the record 8th different winner to begin the 2000 season. From the flat half mile where you drive with the finesse of a bulldozer to the high-banked highway called Talladega where you maneuver with the precision of a fighter pilot.
It's Talladega, man.
I know it's a great show to watch, but it isn't any fun to drive.
It's just restrictor plate racing, you know. It's a tough race all day long.
It was a madhouse out there. Too fast, too close.
You can feel it all around you. It's like, I gotta go, gotta go.
I think you gotta be half crazy to want to run this race.
You move, they move.
Wasn't much give at all.
You don't have a lot of control of your destiny when you run these racetracks.
Live from Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, ABC Sports welcomes you to the 9th race of the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup season, the DieHard 500. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Well, you've heard comments from some of the drivers. Many wish they could just pass up this race, not even compete here. The speeds are so fast and the competition so tight. Many know that if someone makes a slight mistake, it could result in what we call the big one, a multi-car accident. Nevertheless, Jerry Punch, 43 drivers are set for the challenge.
Twice a year, the world's best stock car drivers descend on Talladega for the ultimate test of equipment and concentration. They know as 40 drivers rocket past inches apart at 190 miles per hour, there is no margin for error. One mistake, one miscue can cost them and many others a race, a season, or even a career. At most tracks, if you see an opening, you dive for it and make the pass. Here you stay tucked in line. And at most tracks, your skill and daring is all you need to control your destiny. Here it's teammates, friends, and drafting partners who will have more control over your winning than you do. Someone once said, in the Native American translation, the word Talladega means hold your breath. That's probably what these 170,000 fans and 43 drivers will be doing for most of today's 500 miles.
You know, maybe Talladega isn't so treacherous. Maybe it's just tempting. A seductive super speedway that simply baits the best into making those difficult decisions that determine if a driver gets to the front or if he doesn't. That mental chess match begins early for some big names today. Bobby Labonte is a past winner at Talladega, but today the point leader starts 37th, taking a provisional after motor trouble smothered his qualifying run. His teammate Tony Stewart had the exact same problem and now faces those same decisions starting 39th. Jeff Burton won $1 million at Las Vegas and would gladly pay that to a loyal partner today. Only problem, there is no loyalty here. Burton starts 38th after an oil pump failed on Friday. 3 of 43 men about to take the challenge and face the temptation of Talladega. Now let's go upstairs to Benny Parsons and Ray Evernham.
In qualifying, the cars were very slow, but in practice, they all ran about the same speed, well over 190 miles per hour. We'll see that big group of cars. All right, Ray Evernham, as a crew chief, you got some cars started in the rear of the field. How is a crew chief going to help them get through the pack?
Benny, Talladega is a frustrating race for a crew chief because once the race starts, you can't do much to make your car go faster. What you can do is work together with your spotters, one on the front stretch, one on the back stretch, to give your driver what he needs to win this race, eyes in the back of his head.
Over the years, we've had some surprise winners at Talladega, but Bob, sometimes this place just favors those cagey veterans.
Benny, there has never been a driver in NASCAR history better at Talladega than Dale Earnhardt. He swept both events here in 1999.
White flag is in the air.
One more lap to go. One more tour on the 2.66-mile tri-oval at Talladega. Is it going to be Earnhardt? Is it going to be Jarrett? Is it going to be Mark Martin? They get closer to the line. It's going to be Dale Earnhardt winning the DieHard 500.
White flag, man, white flag.
Now it's all going to be settled in 2.66 miles from now. The conga line. Earnhardt moves to the inside, the outside, and Dale Earnhardt will win the Winston 500.
But the horsepower of Robert Yates engines could take one of his two drivers to victory lane today. Dale Jarrett won his third Daytona 500 in February. And Ricky Rudd also won there in a twin 125. Could Rudd win today and become the 9th different winner in the first 9 events of NASCAR's 2000 season?
Well, Bob, certainly Ricky Rudd and his teammate Dale Jarrett should be seriously considered as favorites today. Rudd finished 3rd here at Talladega last fall and has the same car here that won one of the twin qualifying races at Daytona. Jarrett has finished no worse than 2nd in 3 of those last 3 races here. He won the Daytona 500. That car's now in Daytona, USA. So he has a different ride today, but it's still very fast. Earnhardt won this race last year after starting 17th. He rolls off 4th today. Friday, his team had to rebuild the rear of the car after it initially failed to make it through NASCAR inspection. Unfortunately for the competition, it hasn't seemed to slow down Earnhardt. If you're looking for a long shot, look no further than Johnny Benson. He's here with the same car that led the late stages at the Daytona 500. Benson starts 13th today. He hopes 13 turns out to be his lucky number.
It's just about time to get the command that will get this race underway.
Gentlemen, for the most famous words in auto racing, to start the DieHard 500 from Sears, Brian Kelly.
NASCAR fans, the greatest fans in the world. On behalf of the 300,000 Sears employees and our customers, the world's best customers. Gentlemen, start your engines!
You can imagine what's going through the mind of some of these drivers. Although now that they're strapped in the cars and ready to go, their minds change to the journey ahead. The 9th race of the year is set to begin. Bobby Labonte leads the points, but Mark Martin has closed the gap with a win last week at Martinsville. The defending series champion Dale Jarrett is 7th in points. And as Bill Weber told you, 3 of the top 10, Bobby Labonte, Jeff Burton, and Tony Stewart, are starting spots 37th or worse. So we have a tight points battle. And Robin Roberts, we expect some tight racing here as we send it back to you in our Wide World of Sports studio in New York.
All right, Bob, thank you very much, and we will get back out to Talladega in
moments away from the start of the DieHard 500. That's this expansive racetrack. It is the longest that NASCAR competes on, 2.66 miles in length. It is a tri-oval. Now the banking is 33 degrees, not as steep as Bristol. However, it's still more than 3 stories from the apron up to the top of the banking in the corners. The tri-oval is banked at 18 degrees. Now here is the Walmart Tire and Lube Express grid. Jeremy Mayfield is on the pole, his 2nd pole here at Talladega, and Bill Elliott is in his 600th NASCAR Winston Cup start. Dale Jarrett, the winner of the Daytona 500, starts 3rd alongside, with 9 wins here at this facility, Dale Earnhardt. Back in row number 3 with 2 DieHard victories is Mark Martin and rookie Dale Earnhardt Jr., who won earlier this year in his 12th start at Texas. In the 4th row, it's Sterling Marlin with 5 wins on the restrictor plate tracks, and Mike Skinner looking for his first top 10 of the year 2000. Well, the last restrictor plate track, of course, was Daytona, and many have criticized that for being a dull race, but we have changed the rules, and as you indicated earlier, Benny, every indication is that this is going to be a much more competitive race.
Well, they let the teams control their own destiny with the front shocks and springs, and Ray, that seems like it's brought the cars to a bigger group than we saw in Daytona.
Well, something certainly has, Benny. They've given them back half the equation. They've given them back the front shocks, but not the rears. And we're always talking about balance. It's going to be interesting to see who can hit the balance with only half of the tools.
Joe Nemechek, starting there on the outside of row number 12, won the Busch race here yesterday. And again, if that was any indication of how exciting the race is going to be today, we're in for one whale of an afternoon.
Man, that was fantastic yesterday afternoon. And I talked about track position in NASCAR today, but once again yesterday, Joe The 17, Matt Kenseth, had to start at the rear of the field, worked his way to the front, went to the back, came back to the front, and back to the back again. So it looked like you can get through this traffic with some help.
If yesterday was any indication, this is the biggest track that we race on in NASCAR, but those guys used every inch of it. And cars were able to stay in the middle of the pack, and that's something we haven't seen before.
And completing the starting lineup, Darrell Waltrip will start in the 43rd position. Now the drivers who were unable to qualify for this event: Brett Bodine, Kevin LePage, Gary Bradbury, Rick Mast, and Elliott Sadler. Well, the green flag is just moments away. We'll be back for the start of the DieHard 500 from Talladega in a moment. The field behind the pace car heads down into turn number 1. When they come around next time, they'll get the green flag. We have 188 laps of competition set for you this afternoon, with a purse near $3 million. The pit window for fuel between laps 58 and 64. And Mark Martin set the track record here in 1997. That was a caution-free race, 188.3. 5-4. We'll be riding along with 9 drivers in this event.
This is Ken Schrader's M&M's Pontiac the Conseco onboard camera starting back in 40th. Bobby Labonte starts 37th, the Circuit City onboard camera. Rusty Wallace, the Miller Lite onboard, starts in 18th. Johnny Benson has the LearnFrame.com camera. He starts in 13th position. Michael Waltrip, the Nation's Rent onboard camera, starts 11th. Ward Burton, the Husqvarna onboard camera. Ward will be starting in the 9th position. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Bud camera, starts in the 6th position. Mark Martin on the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Valvoline onboard. And the Ford Quality Care Ford of Dale Jarrett starts 3rd. He also carries one of our cameras.
We were plagued by bad weather on Friday here at Talladega. Yesterday it started to clear off. Ray Evernham today, bright sunshine, much warmer than it has been.
And it will affect the amount of tape that's on the front of these cars, Bob. The engine temperature yesterday in happy hour was probably a little bit cooler, definitely a little bit cooler than it is today. But what they've had to do is remove some tape from the front of those cars, and that will affect the way they handle.
Well, the Bud Pole Award winner for this event was Jeremy Mayfield. He's won 3 poles in his career. 2 of them have been here. They're the drivers that have qualified for the Bud Shootout at Daytona International Speedway in February of 2001. 2 drivers have already won 2 poles this year. Well, we're about down to it as the field moves slowly behind the pace car, down off of the corner number 4 and into the tri-oval area. The pace car will be making that hard left momentarily. Jeremy Mayfield will take them to the green flag.
And until you get to the start-finish line, you can't pass. Those guys in the rear, you gotta wait to get across the start-finish line. That's a mild form of cheating. Pass them before that line, and you will be penalized by NASCAR.
And again, the start-finish line is down past the exit of pit road, down toward turn number 1. Normally, it's right about where the cars are now, but here at Talladega, it's way down through the tri-oval. We invite you to sit back and enjoy the 2000 DieHard 500 from Talladega Superspeedway. The flag is out. And big puff of smoke from Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I believe he has burned a piston on the parade lap.
Looks like he's got a right front flat, Kenny. Looks like he's got a right front flat tire.
Tough luck for the leading candidate for the Rebestos Rookie of the Year honors. Leading the point standings going in. There's his crew chief, Tony Eury, and the caution is out already.
But these cars are racing back to the line, and you're right, Ray, the right front tire's gone flat.
Some sparks coming out from the right front area of the race car. The field will come down to take the caution flag. Down to Bill Weber.
Okay, there was some speculation he may have run into someone, but Earnhardt said he did not hit anyone. It's a flat right front. So the caution is out. He's going to try and get back to pit road. This will really string out the field, and Earnhardt will have to run all the way back to his pit stall. He has the #1 pit stall on pit road. That's all the way at the end. He has to travel the entire length of pit road to get to his stall. That could incur further damage. We'll see. Not even to pit road yet.
Well, When you saw those sparks underneath there, that thing's grinding on the sway bar arm, and that's not good.
And look at that front bumper, that front Valentine is back under the car, where the right front tire being as low as it is, it's rubbed on the racetrack, and Ray, that's going to ruin his handling.
It really is. They're probably going to have to replace some pieces in the front of that car. What a shame. They could just put 2 right side tires on it and get back out, but I believe there's damage there.
You'll see the start, and right away, the right front tire starts. And you see the tire isn't rolling, Ray. Look at the tire there. It's like the brakes locked up or something got up inside. Watch this. He's right behind his father.
The 3 car. I wonder if there was a brake problem when he had to get on the brakes that hard after he hit the back of the 3 car.
Because as the car, we see them working on the car.
He is going to be able to stay on the lead lap. The pace car has the field out of turn number 4. But, well, we think maybe, looks like now they may be pushing the car behind the wall. Well, we'll check on it and report to you. In any case, the caution is out after just 1 lap, and we'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. It's just come out to restart the DieHard 500 after a problem on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car to begin this race. He is still on pit road. They haven't taken the car behind the wall, but he is still on pit road as repairs are underway. Meanwhile, down the backstretch, it's Jeremy Mayfield, the pole sitter, with Dale Jarrett right behind him, now going to the inside and getting some help from Bill Elliott as they head for turn 3.
When you see the leader get a great jump at Daytona and Talladega, that's not a good thing, because that allows that 2nd and 3rd place car to get a great run, as Dale Jarrett did, and go right by you in turn 3.
We hear us refer to the term hanging him out as the afternoon goes along, and that's what's happening to Jeremy Mayfield right now. The drafting line has formed behind him, and he's hung out, hoping that somebody will go with him. But look at, they go 3 wide to turn 1. Down to Jerry Punch.
Guys, on the start of the race, Dale Earnhardt Sr. said the 94 car started to take off and then suddenly slowed. He hit the back of the 94 car. The 8 car hit the back of him, and so he was concerned about grill damage on the front of his Chevrolet and, of course, the damage on the front of his son's Budweiser Chevrolet. Let's check in his pitch with Bill Webb.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is losing laps. It's a new right front spindle, new brake pads, new brake rotor, whole right front assembly for this car. Basically, the wheel would not turn. So Earnhardt Jr. sits here on jack stands on pit road after the great qualifying run, but it won't be his day today.
And look at Jeremy Mayfield. The pole sitter has dropped far back here to the middle of the pack, running alongside Mike Skinner. That's Rusty Wallace in the number 2 car. They come down to complete lap number 5. And we see that Mayfield is back to 10th position. That last lap at 187.1 miles an hour for the leader. However, the fastest car that lap was the number 22 of Ward Burton, over 188 miles an hour. Jarrett has the lead as they shuffle for position behind him.
And here comes Skinner on the inside of Sterling Marlin.
Front 2 in single file formation, and then they're side by side. Back of that, we're on board with Johnny Benson, who had such a great run at Daytona, was leading with just a few laps to go before a caution.
Last time by, Benson run into the 7th spot. And all I can tell you is the last time by, because now he's back to 9th spot.
Jarrett now has Mark Martin right on his rear spoiler, with Ward Burton running in 3rd. The side-by-side battle for 4th was between Bill Elliott up high and Mike Skinner down low.
Jimmy Spencer right behind Rusty Wallace. You see our Jimmy Dean telemetry. We show Rusty up to 194 miles per hour. When he goes to the corner, when he hits the bank, the car will start slowing down. But not that much.
Now they're 3 wide off of corner number 4 with Dale Earnhardt up on the high side of the racetrack. And Elliott there running again beside Mike Skinner. And now Mark Martin will lead the low drafting line past Dale Jarrett. So Martin goes to the lead and Ward Burton comes along to second.
Mike Skinner started back in the 8th position, has worked his way up to 3rd. Well, make that 3rd is being contested right now.
Looking back from the leader, Mark Martin to Ward Burton.
Does last lap over 109.5 miles per hour.
Hard still up on the high side of that racetrack. Ray Evernham in yesterday's Busch race, we noticed that often the middle line was working. In other words, the car in the middle on a three-way side-by-side would get an advantage.
And that's something that we haven't seen here before in the past. Normally, if you get trapped in the middle, you're going to the back. But just less than 10 green flag laps ago, those cars were single file, nose to tail, 42 or 43 cars. And now they've reduced that pack to about a third of the size. They're 2 and 3 wide already.
Here's Michael Walker. Bob Jenkins talked about it, right in the middle. Cars on the inside, cars on the outside, right behind him. And, he just splits the Jeremy Mayfield and Scott Pruitt car.
See how low the air dam was on Jeremy's car? That's the fact that NASCAR is giving him back the front shocks to hold that air dam down. It's up about 3 inches, 3.5 inches on the straightaway. In the corner, it's down, and the shocks hold it down.
Still 3 wide through the tri-oval.
Comes Kenny Irwin behind Michael Walker.
John Andretti to the right.
See all those green and red pieces of tape on the front of Kenny Irwin's car? Oh, that's to change, that's to pull tape off in case these cars do overheat during the race.
Unbelievable. 4 abreast here. Somebody's got to give before they hit the turn 3 area.
Well, they didn't. Scott Pruitt, the 32 car, followed by Robbie Gordon, a couple of open-wheel drivers from the kart ranks.
Now to complete lap number 10, Mark Martin leads with Mike Skinner running in 2nd position, and Sterling Marlin has moved up to 3rd position.
We saw Dale Earnhardt up there in 3rd spot not too long ago. Now he's back, all the way back to the 15th, 16th spots. What's going on, Jerry?
Benny, this was a major cause for concern in the Earnhardt camp this morning. I talked to Kevin Hamlin, the crew chief in the garage area. This is the same car that ran in Daytona. They came here 2 weeks ago and tested with this car at Talladega, and it would not suck up, they call it. It would not pull up in the draft. Once this car got shuffled out, you need someone almost to push you back to the front. They took their 99 Monte Carlo out of the truck, the one they won both events last year with here, and it would come from 20 car lengths back. Not this car. This car would not come back to the front unless it had help from behind, and we're seeing that exact problem right now.
As I recall, he indicated last fall in October that he didn't think he had a very good car when it was out there by itself, but if you can find a good partner, look what can happen. He won the race.
And Dale Earnhardt will find a good partner because they all want to follow Dale Earnhardt because they all feel like he knows exactly where to go, and where he goes they want to follow. Look at these 3 abreast. And folks, this is honestly, I'm telling the truth, at 189 miles per hour.
The first 37 cars are running within 2 seconds of each other, and the overhead view is from the Pennzoil copter cam. They start 2 abreast, but since the green flag has dropped, they've been racing mostly 3 abreast. Last lap, 189.9 miles an hour. Ward Burton, the fastest of the 6 drivers, top 6 drivers. Mark Martin, however, still has the lead. We're looking back from his car to Mike Skinner, who's running in 2nd. And that's Ward Burton on the left, who is in 3rd spot. More of the DieHard 500 in a moment from Talladega. Back to Talladega Superspeedway. They're coming down to complete lap number 16 of 188 in the DieHard 500. Mark Martin is still leading. Mike Skinner still running in the second position as they come down and hit the line. Sterling Marlin now runs in third spot with Ward Burton back in fourth. Here comes the number 2 car of Rusty Wallace up for a challenge of Ward.
On board with Rusty Wallace, the Miller Lite on board. There's Bill Elliott back in the 6th position.
Well, John Kernan is with Dale Earnhardt Jr. We noticed they pushed his car behind the wall, John.
And his crew is working on it now. Dale, what happened?
On the restart there, we were getting going, and I don't know what happened actually in front of me, but I was just shifting through my gears just like normal, looks like everybody else, and Dad and whoever, Elliott in front of him, just stopped. I had to slam on brakes, keep running in the back of them, and it tore the brake caliper up and tore the tire up and everything else. So just, I don't know, man. I mean, just it was either mash the brakes and stop, or run in the back of Dad's car, tear his car up, probably spin him out and wreck everybody. I'm just upset. I don't know whether Elliott missed a shift, Dad missed a shift, or whatever, why they stopped like that. Maybe, I don't know what's going on there either. But it's disappointing, man. Really ticked off.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind the wall. His crew busily working on the car to try and get him back out onto the racetrack.
But boy, he is off to a great start in his rookie year. He has the best average start this year of any driver. His average start is 8.5. Well, the battle continues on the racetrack. They run in pretty much the same order up front, but again, we're seeing 3 wide racing with Scott Pruitt there in the middle, along with Rusty Wallace.
Can you imagine being 5 car lengths behind the leader and being 15th?
No. Now here comes Jeremy Mayfield. We saw that Mobil 1 car, the pole sitter, and he looks like he's got some help. But Sterling goes down to block that move. Rusty and Jeremy teammates trying to get hooked up.
And Jimmy Spencer is there on the right also. Spencer started this race back in 26th position.
Wow, he had quite a run on Jeremy.
Really did. He was the fastest car in happy hour yesterday. He said his car was pretty good.
Rusty Wallace, the telemetry on board with him. With Jimmy Dean on board telemetry. See him go down the corner at 187. Thing just stays so constant. Matter of fact, now he finally goes down to 186. At about 6,500 RPMs. With this restrictor plate, you just can't turn the RPMs you would at a normal racetrack.
It's still hold your breath until these cars get strung out a little bit. That's Wally Dolan back there in 75. Ricky Craven is down on the inside line. But again, Ray, look at that middle lane there move.
And I just can't believe that middle lane can hang in there like that. We just saw Wally Dolan back a minute ago. Wally started way at back of the pack, 35th or 36th.
Started 35th and has worked his way up to the 12th position. At 75, the red and black car.
I believe if there were another lane painted on the racetrack, they'd be using it.
Robbie Gordon has also made a nice move to the front. He started back in 34th position. He is the multicolored number 13 car. There he is, ahead of Scott Pruitt and beside the pole sitter, Jeremy Mayfield. And a battle for second now. Here comes Sterling Marlin challenging Mike Skinner as the line forms behind Marlin. He's going to get some drafting help from Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, and Robbie Gordon. But Mayfield will move up to the high side to help Mike.
Good help. Got good help.
Keith Simmons, the spotter for Sterling Marlin, saying you got some good help. You got Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Robbie Gordon pushing you along.
Yes, he is, within inches.
Sterling, just remember, he'll help you as long as it's an advantage to him. When it isn't, see ya.
First 13 cars within a second. The first 29 cars within 2 seconds. And a little bit of bumping there, maybe, between Dollarback and 75 and Michael Waltrip at number 7. That's Jerry Nadeau in the 25 car.
And Michael Waltrip, when that happened, had to ease out of the throttle or touch the brake to slow down to avoid the crash. And we can see he has lost a couple of spots as now Dick Trickle goes by in the 60 car.
Michael Waltrip had one of the best races of his NASCAR Winston Cup career last weekend at Martinsville. Started 34th and finished 3rd. And Johnny Benson is also continuing to work his way to the front. On board with him, he's behind Ricky Rudd.
And they're running 16th position.
Yep.
You can just listen to the exhaust and hear they just never back off. Not a lot of movement on that steering wheel, Ray.
No, there's not. And it looks like his car is handling good.
Down the right front, we'll take somebody out. The 27 car wants to follow you wherever you go. Just don't try to pass. Just stay in a nice line there. They're still coming inside 2 by 2.
There's good information. You see, they're already talking about adjustments.
Behind the 32.
So when we were looking at Johnny Benson's car, he was not turning that steering wheel a lot. And that's a secret to going fast on a super speedway, not to have to turn the car a lot so it scrubs speed off. If I was those other guys, I'd be listening to what Spencer's crew chief said.
Benson running beside Ricky Rudd right now.
He complained to James Ince, the crew chief, that his car, talking about Benson, his car was a little loose, a little tight, and they were going to adjust it. You see Jeff Gordon back in the number 24 car, and he's still back in 36th position. He had worked his way up to about 25th or so, but now he's going backwards.
And we see Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart running there together also. They are also having a difficult time moving up from the back of the pack where they started. Right now, Tony Stewart is 34th and Bobby Labonte is 18th. Let's go down for a report from the pit area, Bill.
Well, Bob, I'm not sure how difficult a time the 18 and the 20 are having. They're exactly where they want to be on the racetrack as far as in relationship to each other. That's why neither went to second round qualifying. They wanted to be partners on the racetrack. What they're doing now, I believe, is hanging back there and making sure if there's any trouble in front of them, they're not in it. Look for those two teams, along with the 24, to try and make up a lot of positions when they pit.
Well, that's one thing we talked about earlier in the weekend on our qualifying shows. It really doesn't make any difference historically where you start here because the draft can get you to the front. But what you do want to qualify well for is avoiding the big one.
See Dale Earnhardt, the 3 car, back on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to work his way back, showing 11.
Hey, might as well just stay with Earnhardt.
The last time by. As Benson spotted him, well, I'll stay with Earnhardt. He's a pretty good guy to draft with at Talladega.
Still 3 wide.
About 4 wide behind as Michael Waltrip goes down and gets on the inside of Triple, takes a spot away, and here comes Jeff Gordon up through the middle. We must have caught Gordon when he had to get off the throttle because he slowed down abruptly and lost about 10 spots because this car looks pretty good now.
Must have saw something in front of him he didn't like. They were working the bottom groove there and moving up there. He and Jerry Nadeau. Now I can see that they're back together a little bit.
You got 2 24s behind you.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has re-entered the DieHard 500. On this 27th lap, he goes back into competition, so all cars now still running.
Oh, Robbie Gordon tries to squeeze up, but Jeremy Mayfield didn't want him to squeeze up, so Robbie Gordon has to go back down, and now he's in the middle.
Mark Martin is the leader of this race. Jimmy Finning is his crew chief. He's watching things closely, and Jack Roush, the owner, is all smiles here at Talladega. Mark leads. Marlin is second, Rusty Wallace third, then Jimmy Spencer and Mike Skinner, the top 5. Back at Talladega, we had a caution flag at the end of lap number 1 because of an incident between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his father. At the beginning of the race, since then, we have been all green, and what a battle it is. Mark Martin is currently the leader of the race with Sterling Marlin running second. Then comes Rusty Wallace. Behind them, however, look at this, 3 wide. And the 99 car of Jeff Burton, who started 38, suddenly is right up there at the front.
Being shown in 13th position the last time by. And 75, Wally Dallenbach, the red cell car, just trying to push the 42 car by, trying to will him by those other 2 cars. Kenny Irwin caught right in the middle. Green and blue, number 42.
Kenseth is running in 18th position. He started 42nd. That's Kenseth there in the black and yellow, number 17, the DeWalt Ford.
All of a sudden we see Mike Skinner, the Lowe's car, is struggling. He was up in the top 5, and right now we see him on the outside. Cars going by right and left. Last time by, he was back to 12th position.
We see about 8 cars beginning to break away from the rest of the field.
Behind you, buddy. Good job. Good job.
On board with Dale Jarrett, who runs in 5th spot. Punch has a report on Mark Martin, who continues to lead here. He's led 25 laps of the 33 so far.
Guys, a number of the spotters for cars in the top 5 have gone to Mark Martin, spotter, and asked Mark if he would let them slide by and lead a lap to get their 5 bonus points. Mark's reply, hey, I'm not trying to be a jerk out here, but you know, if I let these guys by, then I get shuffled back in that mess back there, and the big one happens, and who's the fool? I'm not trying to be a jerk, Mark says, but I'm going to stay here. If you can get by me and get your points, then race by me and earn those 5 points.
I don't understand what that was all about, but it's kind of scary. Talking about Michael Webb going to the inside and the outside.
Here he comes. Here comes the 12.
Spotter.
10 coming on the inside. 12's behind you. You're all around over inside.
Mike Skinner and Dale Earnhardt, teammates, are teamed up. Skinner taking a look now. Earnhardt making the move to the inside of Johnny Benson. Now you got to be very careful, because to the left of that yellow line there is flat, and if you upset the car, you find yourself in big trouble.
Rusty Wallace moving his way into 2nd spot.
Bill Elliott, who was running up front a while ago, now has found himself back in 35th position. Bill Elliott is in his 600th NASCAR Winston Cup start, becoming only the 12th driver to reach that mark. Bobby Labonte there in that green car, still having a bit of a struggle getting to the front. He's in 32nd position.
See Jeff Gordon driving to the inside of Bobby Hamilton in the DuPont car. Jeff is trying to take over the 18th position.
On board with Bobby Labonte, that's Ricky Craven to the right. Behind him is Bill Elliott, and immediately behind Bobby Labonte is his teammate Tony Stewart, and Elliott goes way down low.
Ricky Craven in the 50 car was up about in the top 15. Erger, he's now back to 31st.
Bill Elliott, after starting second, dropped all the way back into near the end of the pack, running around the 35th spot. his crew and said, hey, the car's pretty good. I just got kind of shuffled out of traffic and I'm having to bide my time. And I asked him which line they wanted Bill to run in. They said, well, it looked like the bottom line was the fast line. So they had Bill go there, and they said, well, it was the fast line until we got down there. So Elliott's still searching all over the racetrack to find the line where his car wants to run the fastest.
And pretty soon, not too long from now, we'll be having pit stops. And we talk about, as you see, Jimmy Spencer trying to go by Rusty Wallace to take over the second spot. And Jimmy, there's no one there. Can you spell hung out to dry?
Dale Earnhardt third, Skinner fourth. Skinner making a move on his teammate Dale Earnhardt. Inside, getting down on that flat part of the racetrack, but he survived. But they're 3 wide now as they come down to complete lap 38.
That is a battle for the third spot. I started saying a moment ago, we'll be safe in pit stop. Can you talk about just how critical they are? 1 second will move you from, if you were 1 second faster than all the other cars in your pit stop, you probably move from 30th to the lead.
That is a pack of cars. We've been seeing cars that are really only 7 or 8 spots behind the leader going by, flashing up 25th, 26th on the screen.
30 cars. The first 30 are within 2 seconds of each other. Now, here we see Skinner and Earnhardt continuing to battle for that third spot. Oh, Earnhardt goes way down to the bottom. Skinner is even lower than that. Ward Burton and Robbie Gordon also down low. And here comes Jeff Gordon making a move.
Where did he come from?
He squeezes in front of Robbie Gordon, no relation. Just unbelievable racing at over 186 miles an hour.
Jeff Gordon was running 36th position not too long ago, what, 10 or 15 laps ago. And he's now, the last time by, up to the 7th spot.
Jeff recorded his first top 5 in 13 races last weekend at Martinsville. He came in the 4th position. It's Mark Martin continuing to lead the DieHard 500. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
The DieHard 500 on ABC Sports, brought to you by DieHard, America's most preferred battery. Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR. This Bud's for you. The new GM car, what are you charging toward? And Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil specially formulated for higher mileage engines.
More than 170,000 people are gathered here for the running of the DieHard 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race. Immediately following our coverage, you'll be able to see race 2 of IROC 24 from right here at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt, of course, the defending champion of IROC, but who will win here at Talladega? ABC's Jack Arute covers all the happenings at the track at abcsports.com, a part of Go Network. We still have Mark Martin leading the DieHard 500 with Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Ward Burton, and John Andretti, the top 5. Then comes Ward Burton, and then they're side by side back of him.
Back about 20th spot. Going down in turn 1 that last lap, 4 wide.
Starting to see 2 or 3 cars move way up against the wall up there. They can gain some momentum running down that bank, Benny, to actually help them pass on the straightaway if they can get a run coming down off the bank.
I think we saw Bobby Hamilton up there not too long ago.
I saw Terry Labonte up there, too. Terry's been known to do that a little bit here.
Super 8 serial report on Jeff Gordon, who started back in 36th position by lap number 80 and moved to 29th, and then kind of hung back there until lap 32 when he took off and now runs in 7th spot. Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Ray, right now, guys are really starting to work some pit strategy, and that is one deal that usually does seem to hold here when you pick your pit partners. A lot of these guys can't get past lap 55. As for Bobby Labonte, he and teammate Tony Stewart continue to lag at the back of the field. Right now, they're just riding around, waiting to make up some spots on pit road. The 18 has talked to the 24, the 36. They've got the 20 out there, and they even went all the way to the other end of the pit road to talk to the 1 car. Watch for these guys to really put their pit pride on the line here. A lot of guys taking 2 tires, and don't forget, you've got to get those right side tires back to the left side of the pit, or you will be penalized. Let's go further down pit road.
And the negotiations are ongoing up here in the leaders pit. Mark Martin a moment ago. Rusty Wallace, crew chief. Robin Pemberton came up here to talk to Jimmy Finney, the crew chief for Mark Martin. He was saying, we can only, meaning the 2 car, can only go around 55 to 56 laps comfortably. Will you pit with us? Jimmy Finney's reply, we can go 62 laps, and we need to stay out because we can go, and so can our teammate, Jeff Burton, go 62 laps. Robin Pemberton pleaded his case. Well, we need to hang with you. We can try. We'll try to stay as long as we can. Then the next part of the discussion was, do you take 2 tires or 4 tires? Some of the teams want to come in and take only 2 tires. I got to believe the leader, Mark Martin and Jimmy Finney, are going to take 4 tires on their first stop on lap 62. It's let's make a deal in the pits right now.
Well, Ray, can you put 2 cans of fuel in the car? You can change 4 tires as quickly as you can put 2 cans of fuel in, can't you?
Yeah, Ben, it takes about 9 seconds to put just right sides on. It takes about 13 seconds to put 2 cans of fuel in that car. So your top guys, when Earnhardt and Rusty and Mark and Jeff Gordon want to pit, they're going to want 4 tires. So it's better to put 4 tires on if you got to put 2 cans of fuel in.
Well, they're coming out to complete lap number 48, so pit stops indeed will be happening before too long. We want to make sure we cover those, so we'll take a break. It's Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Ward Burton, and John Andretti, the top 5 at Talladega Superspeedway. Bob Jenkins, Vinnie Parsons, Ray Evernham, John Kerner, and Dr. Jerry Punch, part of your ABC broadcast crew on hand here at Talladega Superspeedway. We have a 13-car breakaway now up front, and Jeff Gordon is hung out, losing positions.
He'll probably go back to at least 12th before he can get back in right behind Dale Jarrett. There's a little gap between Jarrett and the 4-car Bobby Hamilton.
I don't know that Jeff tried to pass anybody as much as everybody behind him decided they were going to line up and go by him.
You have the top 13, the car running back there in 13th position. The yellow car is Bobby Hamilton. They're coming up to put a lap on Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And folks, we just heard a radio transmission. One of these guys said the water temperature is pegged. This is the warmest day we've had here at Talladega. It could be that several of these cars have too much tape on the grill, and the water temperature is soaring.
It's been really cool here the last few days. Temperature expected near 80. There's the interval between those first 13 cars and the rest of the field. Back in 14th spot is the 33 of Joe Nemechek. Here's some drafting going on between Kenny Irwin and Chad Little. Meanwhile, back up front, 4 cars stay in line, but then they form 2 by 2 behind them with Skinner and Andretti side by side.
Now that will really help that second group catch up. Right now, they're about 2 3/4 seconds behind. We'll have to check it next time by.
Pit stops beginning to happen. Here comes Jerry Nadeau down the pit lane. 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. And several others are also coming in. Bobby Labonte, Kenny Wallace, Terry Labonte, and Stacy Compton, along with the number 60 car of Dick Trickle, all on pit road here as the green flag remains out on lap number 54. Down to Bill Weber.
Bobby Labonte and his crew worked with several teams up and down pit road. They were going to take 4 tires, but because they lost so much track position, it's only going to be 2. Now they're going to have to rate on the fuel. They got the tires around to the left side. Labonte's going out on pit road. The 9, the 55, the 1, the 20, and the 5 are all going to try and hook up. Here come the leaders down the front stretch to cross the start-finish line.
And with those still on the racetrack running at over 185, 6, 7 miles an hour, those that have pitted are going to lose a lap, but unless we have a caution, of course, everybody will when they stop. Down to John Kernan as Mayfield hits his box.
The pole sitter is in for what we anticipate right side tires only. Now watch the right front tire changer, Stephen Lane. First Winston Cup race. He is in for Lee McCall, whose father passed away. Second can of gas going on. Bill Elliott also in with right side tires. Going for gas. Jeremy Mayfield is down and away. Elliott's still waiting. He's finally filled up. He will follow Mayfield down as Kyle Petty also heads down pit road. Now going to Rusty.
Rusty will be in shortly. Meanwhile, it's a slow acceleration, or it seems like it is. They come down at 55 miles an hour. Here is Rusty Wallace decelerating as he's looking for his pit stall. And sees it. The crew jumps out and goes to work. John?
And the call for Rusty Wallace, just hearing from the crew, 4 tires is what we expect to see. Rusty wanting to pit with Mark Martin, but he could not do 62 laps like Martin. Bill Wilburn, the front tire changer, slapping the left front tire on. He gets the lug nuts tightened. The second can of fuel is in. Rusty is down and away.
Meanwhile, a battle for the lead. We go to Bill Weber.
Robbie Gordon is on pit road. He's already gotten right sides. It's a 4-tire change. He's going to have trouble catching any partners. They have a lug nut fall off the left front. This will cost them dearly. They have to hand screw it back on and tighten it with the gun, and then Gordon continues.
And Robbie was looking really good here in the first 50 laps of this race, but that is going to cost him dearly. And Mike Woods, we understand, is in the grass. Oh, that's Dave Blaney coming down. Perhaps a little bit quick, got out into the grass. In any case, Ward Burton is also on pit road.
Ward Burton, Johnny Benson pitted nose to tail. It'll be a 4-tire change for Ward Burton. Johnny Benson waiting on that second can of fuel. It'll be just a right side tire change for him. Left side lug nuts tightened on Ward. Benson is away to Bill Weber.
Jeff Gordon already has rights, waiting on the lefts. He's down. He's going to try and follow the 22 and the 10, and they'll rejoin the pack.
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, there is the lead group. Mark Martin is back in the lead. Dale Earnhardt got it there for a lap or two. In fact, 1 lap, but Martin retakes command. Mark has led 15 races at Talladega prior to today, but the only 2 in which he has led more than 10 laps he won, those being in 95 and 97. And so far, Mark has been up front for 48 circuits.
Now, Ray, if these guys can go 62, that's huge. 3 times 62 is 186. The race is 188 long. If they can stretch make it 63 the next 2 stops, they only got to stop twice.
Yeah, Benny, if they can do that. What might have helped them here, we had a couple of laps of caution right at the beginning, so we'll have to say and watch it. But if they can get within 2 laps, I believe somebody will try it.
Jeff Burton running in 2nd position. Mike Skinner is in 3rd, then Jarrett and Earnhardt. Let's take a look at what happened to Dave Blaney.
Well, he just decided to stop a little bit too late. And I tell you what, as much rain as we've had around here, Dave Blaney does a terrific job and not spinning in that mud.
John Andretti is in, Bill.
And he is on pit road all by himself, right side tires only. Now they get the fuel in, and John Andretti will go back out, and he won't catch the pack. The pack will catch him.
John suffering a major disappointment at Talladega last weekend. He was running right up front in the top 4, ended up finishing in the 14th position.
You mean Martinsville?
At Martinsville, yeah.
Now, somewhere in this bunch is the leader, Mark Martin. There he is, following all these guys who now are right on the tail end of the lead lap.
Down to Jerry Punches. Dale Earnhardt comes in.
Dale Earnhardt comes in. The Goodrich Chevrolet crew now going over the wall. They will change what looks like 4 tires. They go to the right side of the car. Right above him, Dale Jarrett also getting in the 31 car. Earnhardt's teammate Mike Skinner getting service on his car. Jarrett is in. Left side tires going on Jarrett's car. Earnhardt's car down and away. Jarrett is down and away. Mike Skinner off the jacket. He will leave as well. 55 miles an hour headed back out. Leader should be coming in this time by.
See what a difference a 2 tires and 4 tire makes. Chad Little, I'm sure, just changed right sides, and he goes out with Earnhardt and those guys. Dale Jarrett, they were running right up front. Chad Little was back in about the middle of the pack.
Michael Waltrip relinquishes his 3rd position to come in for his first scheduled stop. Hits the tape right on the money. And the team on the right side of the car. It's Darrell Waltrip pulling in just ahead of his brother. They're making sure they get as much fuel as possible. They've only changed 2 tires. And now Waltrip moves away.
Miscommunication there because they pulled the can away and he wasn't moving.
Out of gas.
Out of gas. Huh? 60 laps.
Ready to pack. We're coming off of 4 right now. 3,400. Don't forget your blend line. Don't forget your blend line. All right, let's go.
They have to stay under the yellow line, which extends all the way down to turn number 1. That's the blend line.
Benny, there's another advantage of taking 4 tires. The guys that had the left side of the car jacked up when they were finishing their fuel stop actually got a little bit more gas in the car.
Jimmy Dean telemetry shows us the increase in speed as Michael Waltrip tries to get up, but look at the line go around him.
Be the pack. The 88's the last one in this pack. The 88 and 24. Then the 28 will be coming at you.
Absolutely. Now move up, Michael, and we'll see how much it picks up.
28's next.
Here comes Ricky Rudd just blowing by him.
Next, clear behind the 28. Good ways back to the next pack.
But can Michael catch up with these guys? And Mark Martin and Jeff Burton, the garage cars, are now coming down to pit road.
Teammates decide that they will pit at the same time on lap number 62. Burton will hit his box first. Now here comes Mark Martin as he gives up the lead. Here's Jerry.
They were at 3,500 RPMs in second gear. That's 55 miles an hour. They pitting simultaneously, 1 round of wedge in Mark Martin's car, 1 round of bite going in. He will put on 4 tires. His teammate about 5 stalls up behind him, likewise getting left side tires. Jeff Burton is off the jack. The Valley car now for Mark Martin off the jack as they head down. And guys, by calculations, they might be able to make it on 1 more pit stop.
I tell you one thing, when they take those cans over now, that second can and weigh that is going to be critical. If there's any gasoline left in that can, they might make it on 1 more stop. You ever see them taking the fillers off? That was empty.
They weigh the can full, and then they weigh it empty. It's more accurate to calculate your fuel mileage by the weight of the fuel.
See that watch, they're going to weigh that can.
Well, meanwhile, on the racetrack, Matt Kenseth has picked up the lead. And now he comes in for his scheduled stop, but he did get credit for leading a lap, and that gives him 5 bonus points. Matt Kenseth, another Ray Bestis Rookie of the Year candidate.
Mark Martin still trying to get his car back up to speed. Here comes Jeff Gordon, Johnny Benson. Gordon goes on the inside, Benson on the outside.
Awfully close there between Martin and Gordon. Sterling Marlin shown now as the leader of the race.
I don't see why you have to obey that blend line, because as Matt Kenseth was coming out there about 70 miles per hour, he had cars coming out at 190 miles per hour.
There's the leader, Sterling Marlin, running in second position. Right behind him is Rusty Wallace. Then comes Dale Earnhardt, and we'll be back for more live coverage in a moment of the DieHard 500. Back here at Talladega, 67 laps have been completed, and Sterling Marlin is up front, leading Rusty Wallace and Kenny Irwin, who's doing a great job running in 3rd position. This is the 12th race in the last 13 that Sterling Marlin has led here at Talladega. Running in 4th position is John Andretti, and he too is having a good race.
And Chad Little, let's don't forget about him, back in the 5th position.
Budweiser snapshot shows that John Andretti started in the 25th position. His lowest has been 24th. He moved up quickly at the drop of the green flag and is right now in the 4th spot.
And Scott Pruitt evidently had a poor pit stop, because he now is, we saw him up front most of the day. He now is being lapped by the leaders.
Look at this Coke pit summary. Mark Martin came into the pits running in the lead, comes out in the 22nd position.
And Ward Burton goes from 4th back to 19th. Jeff Burton, another guy who Goes from 8th back to 24th. And Ricky Craven came in 10th, is all the way back to 38th position. And I told you Scott Pruitt ran out of fuel is the reason he is now being lapped. Let's talk about the Tide car, the number 32.
There are only 3 cars not on the lead lap. Scott Pruitt is one of them. Darrell Waltrip is another. And of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is back in the race, but he is 25 laps down after spending that amount of time getting repairs on the Budweiser Chevy. There is Dale Jarrett in the middle of a big pack of cars there, running in 13th position.
Jeff Gordon in the middle of a 3 wide field. There goes Robbie Gordon by on the outside.
He's got some help coming up behind him there. You know, with the draft, it's not only the car in front of you that helps you gain speed, but you get a big push from the cars behind you. When you can judge, when you can look in the mirror and see guys coming up behind you that've got momentum and pull out in front of them, they can shove you by a bunch of cars.
This is back for 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th position.
Kenny Schrader must have had a great pit stop with this M&M's car as we go on board our Conseco onboard camera. And Schrader is now up to the, what? 14th position.
Yep. Kenny Schrader's first NASCAR Winston Cup victory came here at Talladega in July of 1988. And the last time he won a pole position was here a year ago. He started this race back in 40th spot.
Well, there was an 8-car breakaway, but no more. This group of cars has caught. There we see Chad Little right in front of Earnhardt and all these other cars. And here's Mark Martin going through the middle.
He's weaving through, now heads to the bottom of the track. Mark in the 20th position right now, but looking ahead. Now the battle is for second position. Kenny Irwin up on top, trying to take over that second spot from Rusty Wallace, but that isn't going to work as he's going to lose a position, and John Andretti will go to third. And John Kernan has a report on Sterling Marlin.
Bob, that is a brand new race car that Sterling Marlin and his crew brought here to Talladega for this weekend. They got it back from the body shop on Tuesday. They had to send it back to the body shop for some last-minute modifications and did not get it loaded up on the hauler from the body shop until Thursday. Drove it here to Talladega, turned its first laps in practice on Friday. But it looks like the guys really did their homework in putting that brand new car together because Sterling is up front. And by the way, they took only right side tires during their pit stop. Now to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, John Jimmy Spencer's Kmart crew is excited, but they're also exhausted. That likewise is a brand new car. And car owner Travis Carter told me they built that car in 7 days. And you may not believe this, but we built this car in 7 days. We had 25 crew members working 24 hours a day. They worked in shifts around the clock to put this car together. He qualified 20th, but is now running in the top 5. And they are all smiles here in the Kmart pit. Let's go down to Bill.
John Andretti has the top Pontiac third on the track right now, but as you'll recall, he pitted all by himself. They stayed out, they thought, as long as they could. They couldn't find a partner to pit with them, so they came down pit road, went out by themselves, got very fortunate at where they caught the pack. But the good news is they probably could have gone at least one more lap, judging by the fuel that they weighed when they put the 2 cans in the car. So good fuel mileage for John Andretti, a good car, and a good race.
But you sure don't want to stretch it, because if you ran out of fuel here just past the start-finish line, you are in big trouble.
Big trouble. The biggest problem is if you run out of fuel right now, if Mike Skinner were to run out of fuel, Mark Martin would run over him before he could get out of the way.
Talked about Kenny Irwin just, 3 laps ago, how he was running up in 3rd position. He is now back to 22nd.
He tried to take over the 2nd spot and lost 20.
3 wide off the corner. Mike Skinner, Steve Park, and Michael Waltrip are 3 wide. On board with Michael Waltrip, that's Mark Martin as he's on the upside of the track.
Got 2. Still got 2.
Well, Michael Waltrip is still have 2 cars on the outside.
Still got 2, buddy. Hold your line, 36 behind you.
This is a battle for 7th on back. 6 cars breaking away from the field right now.
Still on your corner, still on your corner. It's going to tease to 36. 36 coming with you, 36 coming with you.
Ward Burton looks back at Mike Bliss. That's Bliss in the 27 car. Great run going.
See Dale Jarrett back there along with Terry Labonte. Mark Martin on the high side of the racetrack, tucked in behind Mike Skinner.
And here goes Bliss.
Wide, you're 1 up.
Trying to go
3
4
wide, you're
wide.
And there is Earnhardt Jr. What is he, 25 laps down? But he says, I want to have some fun and play with these guys and learn something for the next time I come here. Because next time I probably won't have all that problem on the first lap.
His first NASCAR Winston Cup race here at Talladega. He has competed in 2 Busch races. We're talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. Well, there you see the 6 cars that are out front. They are Sterling Marlin, Rusty Wallace, John Andretti, Chad Little, Jimmy Spencer, and Dale Earnhardt. Those the top 6, and then a mad scramble for position after that. 77 of 188 laps completed. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Talladega Superspeedway. ABC Sports welcomes you back to live coverage of the DieHard 500, race number 9 of the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup season. When we went to break, we had a 6-car breakaway. No more. They've all gathered up and are running right together again as the Benzoil copter cam shows you the overhead shots. Now, Sterling Marlin is still leading, but they're beginning to lap some slower cars.
Right now, the cars of Robbie Gordon, Ed Berrier. Ever see Robbie Gordon down on the bottom of the racetrack? Ed Berrier up on top.
No, Burton almost to the grass there coming off the corner. And here comes Jarrett to the inside of him.
So Robbie Gordon says, I don't think I want to go a lap down.
Gordon is running in 37th position. Robbie Gordon, that is.
And he had a good car. He was actually towards the lead pack and had a problem on a pit stop. The lug nut fell off, took him some extra time to get it back on.
Oh, here comes Sterling Marlin trying to take Rusty Wallace along with him, all these other cars, and get by Robbie Gordon.
Help, God help.
And looks like it's going to work pretty good.
3 of the current top 5 got their first NASCAR Winston Cup win in restrictor plate races, all at Daytona, namely Marlin, Andretti, and Spencer, running 1st, 3rd, and 4th. And Spencer now down to the apron of the racetrack to try to take 3rd spot away from John Andretti. And he will do it.
Now, what happened, John Andretti, when Spencer made that move? I think he just had to squeeze out of the throttle a little bit, and look what happened to his momentum. He still doesn't have it back.
And look at Chad Little up on the top of the racetrack. As they go 3 wide once again, notice Mark Martin has gotten right back up there again.
And here goes Spencer for oh, no. Hey, Jimmy, get on the racetrack. There you go.
Wow.
Wow. Man.
Unbelievable.
Spencer, you got 2 wide with Rusty back there.
Keith Simmons, he's a cool little
spotter.
Spencer has had the nickname Mr. Excitement for years and years, and perhaps that's a prime example of why they have called him that. But he made it work. He's now in second spot. Now Dale Earnhardt and Steve Park are running in third and fourth position, and Earnhardt looks like he's ready to mount a challenge for maybe second and even the lead.
And here goes Lock his ass now. Coming inside.
Spencer has drafting help from Dale Earnhardt, and Spencer is going to go to the front.
And Steve Park started back in 41st. He's trying to follow his boss.
Look at the crowd. All the 170,000 plus people are on their feet, waving their hats and cheering for their favorite driver. Right now, it's Spencer up front with Earnhardt second.
And Dale Jarrett down on the inside of Steve Park. Oh, couldn't quite make it.
On board with Dale Jarrett.
There you go. Got good help. Got good help.
Here goes Earnhardt for that third spot. No, didn't quite make it. I guess he thought that.
Didn't get clear, Earnhardt. Watch your mirror. Rusty's trying to come high.
And Ray, those spotters just have to work all day long, don't they?
They really do. This is a tense race for them. Keith Simmons is not only the spotter, he built the engine that's in that car. In the 40 car.
In the 40.
188 miles an hour at the front of the field. The fastest of the top 6 cars last lap was John Andretti at 188.723.
Rusty Wallace wants the lead. He goes down on the bottom. Spencer goes there. Rusty thought he had some help from Earnhardt, which he did, but Spencer blocked that move.
And Jeff Gordon also comes up here and becomes a player on board with Rusty Wallace. Right behind the leader, Jimmy Spencer. There's Gordon down on the low side of the racetrack. In the 5th spot.
Help out there. Gonna have to work.
These guys, when this race is over, they will not be tired physically. When they get out of the car, they'll probably collapse because they'll be mentally exhausted.
Well, if they're going to run 3 and 4 wide for 500 miles, Benny, imagine being in the toughest and most intense chess game of your life, except when you make a bad move, it hurts.
Yeah.
Now look at the battle for the second position. 3 abreast as Wallace has gone to second. Now the battle is between Gordon, Earnhardt, and also Sterling Marlin up there for the 3rd position. And with 88 laps completed, we have 100 to go at Talladega. In previous years, especially after we see the first round of pit stops, normally these guys get sorted out and maybe we have groups of 5 or 6 running together. But at the moment, we have 28 cars, the first 28 cars running within 2 seconds. And the first 18 cars are running within a second of each other.
And here comes Dale Earnhardt on the outside trying to take the lead. Got some good help with Sterling Marlin. And meanwhile, Rusty is still on the inside trying to make it 3 wide. But Spencer goes down, blocks Rusty. He can't block them both.
Spencer slams the door. Let's see what that outside. Earnhardt inches ahead of Spencer at the line. Here are the speeds. Last Sterling Marlin shown as the fastest, with Chad Little second and Terry Labonte third, running back in the 14th spot. Once again, Earnhardt mounts a challenge in the high groove.
Have Chevrolets in that top groove and Fords on the bottom groove.
And Earnhardt, I believe, is going to get credit for leading that lap. Martin has led the most so far, 51.
Chad Little seemed to be off the pace to John Deere Ford.
Boy, he had a strong race going.
Is that a flat tire, Ray?
A little bit of smoke there, Benny. Don't know if it was from tire smoke or out of the tailpipe, but it did look like it wiggled a little bit in that corner.
Dale Earnhardt has taken the lead now. Battle is for second position. But Dale Earnhardt, who swept both races here at Talladega in 1999, is ahead once again at Talladega. ABC Sports welcomes you back to the DieHard 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. We're at the halfway point, and what an incredible race it has been so far. They have been under green since caution on lap number 1, and we're 94 in. Right now it is Jimmy Spencer who has pushed his car back to the front of the field, with Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Burton running side by side for second, and Jeff Burton has had an incredible journey to the front. Budweiser snapshot shows you that after starting in 38th position, he has worked his way up to the second spot.
And I'll tell you what, he's trying his best to take that spot away, that front spot, away from Jimmy Spencer. He's on the bottom. He has help from the 4-car of Bobby Hamilton, and he takes the lead.
Jeff Burton had problems during qualifying on Friday night, rather, and had the same problem on Saturday in second round qualifying.
Both times broken oil pump, which ruined the engine. This engine seems to be running okay. That's in the car now.
He actually borrowed this engine from the 16 car.
Mark Martin has led the most laps, and he is right back in the thick of things. We're on board with him. He's running back in about the 12th, 13th position, but all these cars, again, are running right together on the racetrack.
Here comes Jeff Gordon trying to get on the inside of Rusty. That's for the 4th spot.
Cars up here in the front are lap cars. 32 of Scott Pruitt is not on the lead lap, and neither is Robbie Gordon, who's running right behind Jeff Gordon. Robbie's a lap down in 36. Scott Pruitt is also a lap down. They're actually battling for position there. Let's get down to Jerry Punch in the 97 Chad Little pit.
Well, we told you moments ago, Chad Little made an unscheduled pit stop. We saw smoke out of the back of the car. He had a left front tire going down. They assumed he possibly cut the tire coming off turn 2. He felt initially a vibration. The car began to bounce. And here's what's left of the tire. Now, he lost 1 lap in the pits, but when he came in, this belt, this steel cord here was actually wrapped around the brake caliper. They had to take a hacksaw and saw it off here to be able to get it from around the brake caliper. They lost another lap sitting in the pits trying to get the what's left of this tire off before they could put the new tire on. So Chad Little, after a great run early on, now being shown 2 laps down.
That cap that you see that came off that 97 car, Elliott Sadler in Texas had something similar happen to his left rear. That cap beat off the quarter panel, it beat off part of the roof, and got up and hit Elliott in the shoulder and bruised it substantially.
And again, we see them fan out 3 and 4 wide down the backstretch. That's Mike Skinner on the low side. We're on board with Ward Burton looking back to Robbie Gordon. That's Ricky Rudd in the middle, and Terry Labonte up on the top side.
Battle somewhere around the 18th position.
Bobby Hamilton is having a good run. We haven't mentioned him very much, but he is right up there. And so is the 55 car of Kenny Wallace after an incredible disappointment last week at Martinsville, starting on the outside of the front row and having the accelerator stick on the second lap, I believe it was, took him into the wall, but Kenny Wallace has got things going here in the Square D 55.
Last time by, running in 10th spot. Been pretty hotly contested right now between Ian Park and several others. Meanwhile, here's a battle for second spot, and Jeff Gordon some help from behind with Scott Pruitt is trying to take it away, but here Rusty comes back.
And so does Bobby Hamilton. We have had 8 leaders so far in the first 99 laps of this race, and 13 lead changes. Mark Martin has led the most laps, 51. Sterling Marlin has been out front for the second highest number of laps, 21. Great shot from the Pennzoil copter cam as the cars move through the 33 degrees of banking between turns 3 and 4. Now onto the 18-degree banking of the tri-oval. 100 laps complete, 88 to go. We're on an average speed of 180.881 miles an hour.
Trying to go by Kenny Irwin on the outside and had to squeeze off the accelerator just a little bit. Jeff in the 24 and Rusty in the 2 can't quite figure out who wants to run second, can they?
We are side by side all the way around the racetrack. Again, we anticipate pit stops before too long. They're the top 5 with 100 of 188 laps completed here at Talladega Superspeedway. We'll be right back. 500 continues here at Talladega. Brian Weitzel on the right and Robbie Loomis, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, on the left. They've got a bit of a smile on their face right now because their guy, Jeff Gordon, is in the lead here at Talladega. In fact, we have had our 9th and 10th different leaders since we went away on break. Rusty Wallace also led a lap. But Jeff Gordon finds himself in front of the field at the moment.
There we see Ray, you talked about it. He got a good push from the back and just turned it left. Somehow squeezed that Chevrolet between the 99 and the 2 and took the lead.
I saw those guys coming in the mirror and said, come on, boys, give me a shove. And he watched them push him up there to the lead.
Jeff Gordon is on his longest winless streak since he won his very first race back in May of 1994. And way up high on the racetrack are Bobby Hamilton and Jeff Burton.
Steve Park alongside Burton. That's a battle for about the 7th position.
Steve Park has had a good run. Form a single file line now as they come down to complete the 107th lap. Gordon, Wallace, Earnhardt, Marlin, Spencer, Jarrett, Jeff Burton and Steve Park are all on the line. Again, the 32 car of Scott Pruitt is not on the lead lap. He ran out of gas. However, since he's rejoined the race, he is stuck right up here with the lead pack. We haven't talked much about Bobby Labonte today. He is the points leader, of course, and he's got his teammate Tony Stewart right behind him. They've been running together all day, but they really haven't been up front hardly at all. They're 27th and 28th right now, Bill Weber.
And Bobby Labonte's not very happy with his car. He's been talking it over with Jimmy Makar, his crew chief. Makar told Labonte the setup is exactly the same as what they ran in happy hour, with one exception. On the back of that car are the NASCAR-issued shocks. Labonte says his Pontiac is rolling over on the right rear. He made a track bar adjustment to try and account for that on their first stop. This time they're going to put the track bar back where it was. They may make a wedge adjustment, but they're going to see if Bobby can somehow stick in the low line and if that will help his car.
And his worst start of 2000 here today, 37th position. And Bill Elliott is back there too, running in the 30th spot.
So Bill get together with the one car earlier and had the lift off the gas pedal and went straight to the back. It's that donut there on the side.
And when you have those donuts on the side, you cave in the doors. Could that hurt the performance of the car?
It could, Benny, if it's caved in, but I think the big thing was he had to get out of the gas, lost a lot of positions, and he's just not been able to get that momentum back.
And we get more from John Kernan.
Bobby Hamilton just radioed in, said he had run out of gas. And you're also talking about Bill Elliott. After he had that little bit of contact with the one car and got pushed back to the end of the field, he radioed his crew and said, well, I'm just going to sit here and ride for a little while. He says those guys in front don't seem to be pulling away. But as we look at Hamilton on the backstretch, just coming off of turn 2, he has a long, long way to coast. We don't know if he's going to make it, Benny. Will he?
I think he's going to make it, but he's going to be at least 1, if not 2 laps down by the time he finally gets to his pits. Who said it, Bob? Did you say it earlier? You don't want to run out of fuel coming off turn 4 at the start-finish line? That's exactly what Hamilton did.
We're getting close to scheduled pit stops, but I wonder if maybe they didn't get as much gas in that car as they thought, because they're a few laps short.
Well, pit stops are being made. Here's Jerry.
And Ray Evernham is exactly right. Michael Waltrip in about 6 laps before they would have liked to have pitted. They will change now left side tires. They've already changed right side tires, and they cannot make it. Repeat, they cannot make it the rest of the way from here. They will have to have one more stop as they completed. Get it full of gas. Michael stalls the car, now refires it, and is away.
Well, Bobby Hamilton stopped on lap 54, and he ran 56 this time and ran out of fuel. 55 actually, so they had it pretty well figured that first time. And watch him as he just painfully coast off turn 4. Now he's probably down to 25, 30 miles per hour.
What a sickening feeling it must be to know you had a car that was running up front and capable of winning, but now can only watch as the field streams by at 190 miles an hour and you are out of fuel. Well, there he is off corner number 4, but he has still not gotten to the entrance to pit road yet.
He's going to lose 2 laps before he ever gets to his pits. Right now, Jeff Gordon, the leader, is going in turn 3. And he is still coasting, trying to get to his pit stall. He won't have to worry about breaking the pit road speed, will he?
That's for sure. Well, he finally makes it to pit road as the leaders once again come off of corner number 4 and put him 2 laps down. Gordon remains the leader with Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt running 2nd and 3rd. Here you saw Stacy Compton making, and Steve Park for some reason has stopped right in the middle of pit road. He must have missed his pit.
Oh no.
And he stops again.
I can't imagine.
The car has just stopped on pit road.
Now the crew is running like they're going to go push the car.
Possible he's out of gas?
Well, it doesn't look like they changed. The right rear tire isn't new, so I guess they missed. And oh my goodness, he's sitting in the middle of pit road with some leaders coming down pit road.
Again, thank goodness for spotters who will tell drivers that there is a car right in the middle of the pits stopped. All right, Rusty Wallace hits his mark. Dale Earnhardt also in the box as Bobby Hamilton finally rolls out. Here's Rusty Wallace's pit stop with the crew going to work on the right side of the Miller Lite Ford. Now switching over to the left side, changing all 4 tires to Bill Weber in Jeff Gordon's pit.
Well, after a disappointing day in qualifying, Jeff Gordon started 36th, but he has worked his way to the front. This is a 4-tire stop. They've already got the rights on. The 2 is away down pit road. The 24 is going to be in a drag race with the 2, the 3, and several others, and a lot of traffic behind them. Bobby Labonte was coming to pit road. They told him at the last second to stay out. He'd already let off the gas. Now we'll have to come by next time.
And here's a fine, Benny.
That is a fine. There's no doubt about that.
And Steve Park finally backs up into his pit stall. What that was all about, we don't know, but we'll find out for you. Meanwhile, Wallace gather speed as he comes out of the pits. He's got Jeff Gordon right behind him. Meanwhile, Ward Burton is on pit road in the crew cam. John Kernan.
Ward Burton is in, second can of gas going in. They'll only take on right side tires this time. They took on 4 tires last time. They now have it down and away.
3,700.
A track bar adjustment for Bobby Labonte. He's getting 4 tires and fuel. He had slowed to come down pit road when they told him Park's car was stalled. The spotter said stay out. He said I'd already committed to come down pit road, but he got back on the track but lost a lot of time.
Not a good day for the current NASCAR Winston Cup points leader. Let's go down to Jerry Punch. What was wrong with Steve Park?
As the crew came running by us, Bob, out of breath, one of them said, apparently we missed the pits and he was going to go around, but he's out of gas. He couldn't go anywhere. So the car just came to a rolling halt in the middle of pit road and he couldn't go forward or backward, couldn't back it up because the engine wouldn't fire. We came down and sprayed some ether in the car, got it fired, and got him back up to our pit. So unfortunately, we waited a little late to pit and we missed our pit, so a couple of mistakes cost us dearly. John Kernan?
Jerry, while Bill Elliott was getting serviced here in the pits, the rear tire carrier rolled that right rear tire back toward pit wall. It came over near the opening, and someone else standing, one of the photographers standing in the side, actually kicked the tire back. It rolled back out on pit road. Elliott's guy had to, one of the crewmen had to grab it. We thought for a minute they might get penalized, but we talked to the NASCAR official, and the alert NASCAR official in Elliott's pit actually saw what happened. So Elliott will not receive that penalty for that tire getting away on pit road because it was not their fault. They made the best effort they could to get it back over pit wall.
NASCAR told us last week when this rule went into effect it would be a judgment call, but Benny explained exactly what the new rule is.
Well, the right side tires, we've seen those tires laying on pit road before. We've seen cars hit those tires and it damages the front end. There we see the 12 car, and there you see the tire going back across pit road. The catch can man says, wait a minute, that's our tire.
And he also is aware that it was kicked out by someone and not a member of the crew. Well, Rusty Wallace is coming in again. What is this all about? Car doesn't sound like it's at full song, Benny.
I don't know, he just stopped, just changed 4 tires.
And he went past his pit, John. What's going on? And he's got smoke coming from the car.
Robin Pemberton, his crew chief, just said the car's smoking a little bit. Apparently the engine shut off out on pit road. Rusty came on to pit road and then he says, hey, the engine's still running. So Robin said, stay out there, just go down pit road, watch your pit road speed, and go back out onto the racetrack. So I'm going to have to follow up on this. Had not had a chance to talk to Robin right now. Rusty telling his crew that, man, that is a crying shame that he felt like he had a car capable of winning today's race.
Well, we saw some smoke. Couldn't tell if it was from the exhaust or where, but we did see some smoke, but now I don't see any. And Robin Pemberton is trying to figure it out himself.
John Andretti is in for a stop. Here's Bill Weber.
This is 2 left side tires and fuel. Andretti is out of sync with the world. He's all alone on pit road all by himself to get the fuel in. He heads back out, but again, no partner here on pit road. This worked out the first time. It's do it twice.
And here comes the lead pack. And Rusty Wallace makes it around to his pit once again, and he's going behind the wall, John.
He's headed to the garage area. Apparently something broke under the hood. Not quite sure exactly what it was yet, but Robin Pemberton just congratulated his guys and said, you all did a great job. It's a real shame that we had to have this happen to us, but there was no way the engine, although it was still running, there was something broken in it that would not allow them to run at speed. So rather than stay out on the racetrack and be in danger to everybody else. And something with the 6 car now, Bob, or 26?
It's the 26 car, and he's going to drop down off the banking, it would appear, and head for pit road. Yes, indeed. So Jimmy Spencer will come in for a stop. By the way, Rusty Wallace finished 4th in the Daytona 500. That was his best finish in 49 restrictor plate races. And Mike Skinner will come along and pit with Jimmy Spencer, as Jimmy is the first to hit his pit stall. There it is. Down to Jerry.
Well, Jimmy Spencer out of gas on pit road. His crew now going to work to try to change the left side tires. They were trying to make it one more lap for Spencer, trying to be able to get him in and off of pit road. Trying to be able to wait and get as much gas in the car as they possibly could. He was completely out of fuel when he came down. And the 88 car also out of fuel here on the...
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry, Jerry. Yes, he is. Dale Jarrett is out of fuel, coasting into turn 3.
Boy, you just cannot take the chance of stretching it another lap, but we've seen that happen on a couple of occasions, and now it happens to Dale Jarrett.
Well, what happened? Mark Martin and Jeff Burton has put a lot of pressure on these guys to take a chance, to gamble, because they're still out there. They still haven't stopped. If they can go to, what, 125 or 126, they can make it on that'll be their last stop. And all these other cars have to stop again. It'll come out to be a battle between Jeff Burton and Mark Martin for the victory.
And Benny, obviously the weather change and the new restrictor plate hasn't really given these guys as good a fuel mileage as they thought they were going to be getting.
The defending NASCAR Winston Cup champion had very few bad breaks last year in winning that championship, but unfortunately things have gone wrong here today at Talladega, and as the field goes by, Jarrett has yet to hit his pit stall. Here they come. Down to Jerry Punch.
Well, they had pitted on lap 59. I was talking to Todd Parrott. They were going to try to stretch the field to make it on one more stop. They were going to try to go 64 laps to be able to get back on sequence with Mark Martin, the 99 of Jeff Burton. Obviously, it didn't make it. The car ran out of fuel, and so they have made a pit stop and now exit pit road.
That was a great pit stop to be out of fuel. 16.3 was on the screen.
The leader of the race is Jeff Burton. Second is Mark Martin. Then comes Ricky Rudd. And fourth is Jeff Gordon. There's the leader. And we understand that Jarrett's going to be penalized for exceeding the speed limit coming out of the pits.
Wow. Well, that's compounding the problems, isn't it?
Yep. You can see that Burton is running toward the back of this group of cars, but all those cars up ahead of him have already pitted. He is the lead. Bill Elliott had a stop and go. What was that all about?
Bob, it goes back to that tire issue, but basically what happened, the catch can man went after that tire and didn't get the catch can out of the car. So Bill Elliott ended up making a stop and go penalty anyway. Wasn't for the tire, but because they left the catch can in the rear of the car.
And Bill shown now a lap down back in 27th position. Well, Burton is about to complete the 124th lap. Make that, yeah, 124.
He stopped on 61 before. So, Ray, he's now been 63 laps. He can make it from here on one more then.
Benny, it sure looks like those guys are going to go for it. You know, Jack Roush works really hard on the carburetors of those cars, and they've got something figured out.
Now he begins to drop toward the bottom of the racetrack, and Jeff Burton will give up the lead here to make his second and what could be final pit stop of the afternoon.
Frankie Stoddard, his crew chief, has given up his tire changing duties. He's now up on top of the pit box calling the, and here comes Mark and Jeff Burton down pit road.
Jarrett observing his penalty for exceeding the speed on pit road. Here's Jerry Punch as Burton stops.
3,300 RPMs. They remind the driver you do not want a speeding penalty now. This is the final pit stop of the day for the Exide Ford team. And the Valvoline crew for Mark Martin teammates pitting about 4 stalls apart. They can make it the rest of the way on fuel. Left side tires. Now Burton stalls the car. He cars it. Martin is also down, so they will head back down pit road with the 6 car, then the 99 car in that order.
So the Roush cars have made their pit stops. Mark Martin will lead Jeff Burton back out onto the racetrack. It will be interesting to see. They may have been on pit road for the final time this afternoon. Jeff Jeff Gordon now has the lead at Talladega. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
The DieHard 500 on ABC Sports, brought to you by Denny's, where you can check out our new product lineup. Kmart Route 66, jeans, clothes, it's not mainstream, only at Kmart. And wrenchhead.com, parts online all the time. Are you a wrench head?
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Next Saturday, Tom Sneva, Jack Root, and Vince Welch will be with you for the Indy Racing Northern Light Series, the Vegas Indy 300, Saturday live at 3:30 Eastern Time. We'll see whether Buddy Lazier can pull off another outstanding performance. He went from last to first at Phoenix. It's the final tune-up before the Indianapolis 500, and it's next Saturday here on ABC at 3:30 Eastern. Jeff Gordon, the leader of the Talladega DieHard 500, with Jeremy Mayfield and Dale Earnhardt running in second and third position as the Pennzoil Copter Cam follows the drafting line down the backstretch. Well, we saw Rusty Wallace have the problem and drive right straight to the hauler. What is the problem back there?
Well, unfortunately, I think he's done for the day, Rusty. You had a great run, maybe the best run you've ever had at Talladega. What happened?
It must have broke a piston, I guess. After that pit stop, about 5 laps later, I started smelling a lot of smoke and stuff like that, and finally just went to a dead miss. And there's a lot of stuff on the spark plug, so the smoke's pouring out of it, so it's over. But man, it's so unfortunate because this thing was so fast all day long. You know, I was just being patient all day, running second most of the time, trying to get the lead pack gone and get away from everybody. Got in there, got my 5 points, led me a lap, but that's all I needed to do. But what a strong hot rod. This thing was incredible. It handled perfect. It snuck up in the draft real good. And all I can say, a great car. I really think we could have won the race. I really do. Right there at the end, the pit stops were stellar all day long, and they kept giving me awesome track position. And we lost an engine, but you know what? That's about the only one we've lost in a long, long time, and I guess you do lose one every now and then.
Now we've got a caution on the racetrack for Kenny Wallace, so we'll check in and see there. Sorry to have you out, Rusty.
Kenny obviously is okay. He may have scraped the wall, though, enough to bring out the second caution of the afternoon and the first since lap 2.
And, boy, all those plans that the cat in the hat Jack Roush came up with have all gone down the tubes, because now all of them can make it from here the rest of the way.
Benny, we'll probably see a lot of 2-tire stops this time. Guys have not been on the left sides that long, and they're going to want the track position.
Pace car picks up the field. Mayfield just behind the pace car, and Jeff Gordon right behind Jeremy. Well, we have had 10 leaders so far. Let's review them for you. Mark Martin has led the most laps, 52. Then Sterling Marlin with 21. Gordon and Spencer have each led 14, and so has Jeff Burton. Earnhardt led 5, Mayfield 4, Jarrett 4, Kenseth 2, and Rusty Wallace did lead 1 lap before giving it up for the day. And
Bill Elliott was almost lapped. He was about 45 seconds behind the leader. It takes about 49 to get around the racetrack. And the caution flag comes out. He goes all the way around and makes up that 40-some seconds. There he is, catching up with the field.
Well, the track crew is going to go out and check the racetrack while we're under this caution flag, and we will see some pit stops here in just a moment.
And we'll see how many of these cars change 2, how many change 4.
Now, there are 24 cars on the lead lap, and so that many are eligible to pit here as the pits come open.
It looks like about 24 cars coming down pit road, too.
Yes, it does. Coming down at 55 miles an hour. Dale Earnhardt stops at his pit stall. We'll throw to Jerry Punch.
Triple split pits, 12, 24, and 3. Got a Ford and 2 Chevrolets. Earnhardt's crew changing right side tires. Let's go down to John Kernan.
And Sterling Marlin overshot his pit stall. He still isn't. He's just getting gas to 12. Jeremy Mayfield takes right side tires and fuel. But Sterling Marlin, almost a critical error for him, pitting right behind Jeremy.
Wow, a 7.6-second pit stop for Jeff Gordon.
There's Ted Musgrave leaving that blue and white car. Bill Elliott makes his pit stop, 4 tires, he's good to go. Right back up with these guys.
The 6 and the 99, Mark Martin and Jeff Burton did not stop. They pitted not too long ago, so they have elected to stay out there and get the track position. More from Talladega in a moment. An enthusiastic crowd of more than 170,000 have gathered here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in Talladega, Alabama for the DieHard 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race. We are under caution here with 133 laps completed. Well, you know, technology has come a long way, but speeds actually here have slowed down. Here's a NASCAR 2000 moment brought to you by NASCAR Racers. Jerry Punch.
When we talk about restrictor plate racing, and what are we really talking about? Well, what we're talking about is a restriction of air getting into the engine. Here back in 1987 at Talladega, Bill Elliott set an all-time stock car record qualifying at 212.8 miles per hour. Now, when he ran his qualifying lap, let me show you. He had this kind of carburetor plate, and when you opened up, see how much air could come in there? Because there was no plate beneath it. Now I'm going to lay this down and show you that NASCAR decided that that was too fast and it was getting faster, so they wanted to put a plate. This little thing right here is a restrictor plate. Those little holes in that plate are 7/8 of an inch. That's what the teams are running today. Now what that effectively does, if I put that plate down and put this back on top of it here, and then put the carburetor base plate, if I open that up, you see there's very little air can get in through that plate. What that effectively does to the engine is cut the horsepower in half. If I were to put this carburetor and this plate back on one of today's engines at 760 horsepower, the pole here at Talladega would have been 228 miles per hour. But with the carburetor restrictor plate on it, the pole here this weekend was 189. This plate, less air, less horsepower, and less speed, but significantly greater safety. They want to keep the cars under 200 miles per hour so the roof flaps and all the safety features will work on a NASCAR Winston Cup stock car.
And Ray, how many nights of sleep have you lost trying to think of ways to get more air through that little hole?
Well, legally, you've got to work on lots and lots of other things, but there's a constant research and development program. And most of the big engine builders, Hendrick and Yates Roush, those people have people assigned just to the restrictor plate engine development program.
Wonder when they find drivers to run 228 miles an hour.
Let's get down to Bill Weber and get a report on the 18 car of Bobby Labonte.
Well, Bobby Labonte obviously came in as the point leader, but he has had a dismal day, never really running up front. They've had some problems on pit road, and they had another problem this time when they stopped. They wanted to take one piece of tape off the front of the grill of that car. Well, Jeff Chandler, who's the front tire changer, grabbed that piece of tape after he changed the right sides and was coming around to do the left. So he took the piece of tape off. But they had a miscommunication. They didn't think the piece had come off, so another crew member went and grabbed another piece, and now they've opened it up much more than they had planned.
See, this area there, it had some tape on that top grill, and Bill Weber, as he said, they've taken more tape off than they wanted, and that will really slow that car down. Any air that goes through that grill and hits that engine slows the car down considerably.
Still under caution, Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, Kenny Irwin is running in third position. Fourth is Mike Skinner, then Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield, Michael Waltrip, Sterling Marlin, Ward Burton, and Jimmy Spencer. Those are the top 10 as we are just about ready to get the green flag and resume this race on lap 136.
I don't think we mentioned that Bobby Hamilton has also lost an engine in the Kodak Film Chevrolet. He is out of the race. He, Kenny Wallace, and Rusty Wallace.
Go, go, go.
Some of the observers told me that Mark Martin held his hand up to Jeff Burton and said, I'm not going, I'm not going, I'm not going. As soon as he got ready to go, he dropped his hands, which means, okay, you can accelerate. That's one way of keeping those cars from behind you and from running into you.
And these guys have a lot of hand signals that they do as a courtesy, and that probably went on back through the pack, Benny. They know that it's easy to cause a problem up front.
Here is what we're talking about. Mark Martin says to the guys, okay, all right, no. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Mark will lead them down to complete lap. And Mike Skinner makes a move to the inside of Kenny Irwin for the third spot.
Jeff Gordon trying to take the fourth spot away from Irwin.
And Dale Jarrett, who ran out of gas, trying to get a lap back. He is just one lap down in the 28th position, so he needs to get up front and hope there's another caution. Well, he's coming through.
Well, he's got a terrific run going in that number 88. It's a blue car right in the middle of the screen.
Not happen, and look at the mess right here at the start-finish line. Too numerous to count.
I mean, there's just nowhere to go. I saw the Bobby Labonte, our points leader, trying to get his car going. He's trying to drive back down the pit road the wrong way. Is that legal, Ray?
Well, I'm not sure, Benny. They might penalize him for that.
Ricky Rudd is involved, so is Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, Stacy Compton, Dick Trickle, Robbie Barrier, Robbie Gordon, yep.
There's we see Tony Stewart trying to get his car back to pit road.
Looks like he's got a little oil file there.
We see Matt Kenseth is going to get a lap back, and here comes the 32 car, Pruitt, trying to get a lap back. Will he beat Mark? Looks like, oh, there's cars everywhere. So slow down now, guys. Be careful.
Scott did get the lap back.
Now, Bobby Labonte, we see Kenny Schrader walking away from his car. Bobby Labonte, I guess they told him he couldn't go that way, so he turned around.
Well, Labonte's crew looks over the situation. Here comes Tony Stewart limping toward pit road with a bit of a fire there. And Ricky Rudd likewise has damaged in the left front of that car. Well, let's take a look at what happened. The cars were right in the tri-oval in front of the main grandstand when trouble broke out.
The 32 car right there is where the trouble is going to start. He makes contact with Robbie Gordon. He goes down, hits, I guess that's the seven of Michael Waltrip, and then look, there's just no place to go as those guys come across the racetrack. As the smoke goes up, there's nowhere to go except in the side of another car.
And from another angle, watch the contact between the tied car and the one running right beside it. Right there.
And the 40 car of Sterling Marlin goes in the back of Robbie Gordon, which turns him around.
But Marlin, although he may have gotten some damage in the front end, was able to get through it.
And look at that debris up there in front of these cars.
And from another angle, Michael Waltrip took a hard shot to the outside wall, and Ted Musgrave did also in that 15 car. All right, now we go on board with Michael Waltrip.
And we'll just listen this time. He had some damage to his car.
Now from Bobby Labonte's perspective.
Circuit City on board. And that's Ted Musgrave right in front of Bobby. You talk about a racetrack block. He was doing pretty good right till he got there, and it was totally blocked.
Yeah.
Now he's going to spin the car around and head toward the pits in the wrong direction. And now from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s perspective.
Now, folks, I think you understand what we mean by the big one.
But we waited for over 135 laps before we had it.
That's one reason you hate to see caution flags, because they always seem to breed more caution flags.
Under caution because of a multi-car wreck at Talladega. We'll be right back. Well, it has happened here at Talladega, what we hope would not, and the tire marks tell the story. A huge crash right at the start-finish line involving at least 17 cars. Look at those skid marks. And already some have made it their way around to pit road to get repairs underway. We see Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte, among others, on pit road. Now Labonte pulls away, and here's a report from Bill Weathers.
Yeah, he's going back out on the track, but he'll be back. He took a tougher hit than the stock market did on Friday, Bob. They've got numerous repairs to make that. A lot of tape. They had to just check the toe. They're still working on that. They had a new nose down here. They cut off the right side of that. They're going to try and either pop rivet it or tape part of it to the right front of the car. So they've got tools down here. What they're basically trying to do now is protect as many points as they can. But Labonte will be back on pit road. Very damaged race car. It's been a very disappointing day. To Jerry Punch.
Michael Waltrip has climbed out of what's left of his Nations Ranch Chevrolet. A vicious lick on the right side of the wall. Michael, first of all, you okay?
Yes, thank the Lord. I'm fine. Just held on tight. Didn't see what happened. Don't know why I was heading toward the wall. Just unfortunate. This will go down as another defeat for me and my team. But it could have been so much more than that. We had positioned ourselves nicely, worked hard all day long, and just got involved in a wreck. Those are avoidable. I mean, we raced so close together for so long, and then somebody just makes a mistake and wipes out half the field. I'm proud of my Nations Rent Chevy, though. Man, it was good.
If you look to our left here, the crew is working viciously or vigorously to get this car back on the racetrack, Michael. And the reason being, with 17 cars involved, you could gain some points.
Yeah, we could gain upwards of 50 points, and that's big. You know, you have to go after these things. The guys will do their best to fix it, and if they don't get it fixed, at least we'll be able to fit it on the trailer, and before that wasn't going to be the case. So just work on it and try to get back out there, because this team has been good this year, and now we're crashed. I'm just sad for my sponsors and my team.
All right, Michael Waltrip's okay, but his Nations Ranch Chevrolet, well, it's going to need a lot of work to get back on the racetrack. Bob?
Nothing to be ashamed of from that team, though. They were good until this happened.
See, Scott Pruitt makes contact with Robbie Gordon, and there Michael Waltrip gets hit. He goes down through the grass, and then he comes back across the racetrack, and and then Robbie Gordon gets him again, turns him around, and it's too numerous to call from there on.
There is Tony Stewart getting banged by Dick Trickle and others, and Bobby Labonte. Now on board with the driver who was the points leader coming into this race, but right now Mark Martin is on top of the standings. Here's how Bobby got involved.
There was absolutely nowhere to go.
When there's that much smoke and that many cars, it's just unbelievable. You have very, very little chance of getting through something like that.
And yet another angle. We see Michael Waltrip taking a shot down there at the bottom of the track, then sliding up and hitting the outside wall very hard, while others are just collected as they head down toward the start-finish line. And after that, Tony Stewart drove the car around, got so far, and decided that he would bail out. There is a fire burning there at the front of the car.
Pretty good reason.
Yeah.
I think I'd be getting out too.
Stewart just sits down and regains his composure. He took a hard shot in that wreck. Well, that's the situation as the cleanup now is underway with 142 of 188 laps completed. More after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, where the DieHard 500 is under caution. You can see this expansive layout here which is located east of Birmingham and west of Atlanta, Talladega, Alabama. The shots courtesy of the Pennzoil Copter Cam. Well, the fans gathered here have seen a huge crash. Let's take a look at the cars involved in it. Some 17 became entangled in the mess, including the points leader going into this event, Bobby Labonte, and his teammate, Tony Stewart. Going to be a long list here. We won't attempt to read every one of them, but as you can see, the pit crews now are very busy on some of these cars, trying to get them back into some reasonable shape that they can go out and at least complete a few more laps and perhaps move up a couple of positions in the standings. One of those involved in the accident was Kenny Schrader. Jerry?
Kenny out of the car. He looked to be okay. What was your view of what happened down there?
When I got there, Jerry, there was just a lot of smoke. And I saw the 60 car coming back across the racetrack, and it's like, don't think I'm going to miss him. And I got into the 60, I guess, which was Trickle, and then someone got into us. But it started way up there.
Your M&M's Pontiac is now an M Pontiac. Part of the other M has been ripped away. The crew over there working on it. Any shot of you getting back out with you 14th in the points?
I'm sure if it's any way possible. I fired it. I mean, it never shut it off. I kept it running, but looked down, didn't have any oil pressure, so I shut it off. Steering wheel was still in about the same position, so, you know, they might be able to just put all the stuff in the front back of the motor, radiator and stuff, and get it back out. But we talked about this before, Jerry. At least it wasn't the W&W Pontiac, so it wasn't all that bad.
It wasn't upside down. A sense of humor from Kenny Schrader. He'd like to get back out, guys, and stay in the top 15 in points if possible.
Well, we're just glad to see him okay. Let's take a look at a Napa field summary and where they are right now, with Martin and Burton showing the way, with Skinner, Gordon, and Kenny Irwin completing the top 5. All these cars on the lead lap.
Right now we're showing 19 cars on the lead lap. We saw the 17 and the 32 race the leader, Mark Martin, back to the pits, back to the line, and we said, well, he got a lap back. Well, the fact of the matter is that Mark Martin had already taken the caution flag, so that froze the cars in position. They were not allowed to pass the leader.
And there are some of the cars involved that are off the track getting repairs made. Well, this is the big one that occurred right here in the Tri-Oval. 17 involved in a big pileup at Talladega. Apparently, everyone is okay. The DieHard 500 continues here on ABC Sports in just a moment. Talladega in the DieHard 500. Well, tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time, the NHL Stanley Cup Playoff Conference quarterfinal game number 3 features the Philadelphia Flyers against the Buffalo Sabres. Dominik Hasek, 25 saves, but it's still his team 0-2 in the series. ESPN and ABC are the exclusive networks for all Stanley Cup action. The cars line up 2 by 2, and you know what that means. We are set to go back to competition on lap 147.
Two Jack Roush cars with Mark Martin, Jeff Burton will lead them down. A couple of Chevrolets of Mike Skinner, Jeff Gordon. And Kenny Irwin, another Chevrolet in fifth.
Kenny Irwin is having one of his best runs of the year, his best finish in the year 2000. He finished 14th rather, at Daytona. Up there on the bottom side of the track. He is the first car lap down in 20th spot. All those up on top are on the lead lap, and included in those a lap down Dale Jarrett, who's 21st. Jerry Punch is with Tony Stewart, another one of those involved in the big wreck.
Tony, a very, very hard lick. Good to see you climb down to the car and are okay now. You see what happened out there from your vantage point?
Just a bunch of cars got collected in front of us. The biggest thing, I feel bad for Bobby because I couldn't, keep him from getting hit. But, the guys are working on our Home Depot Pontiac and trying to get it put back together where we can at least go out and try to get some more laps and, maybe get a couple spots on the guys that are still stuck here in the garage. So just trying to watch and see how Bobby ends up with this thing, and hopefully he can stay up front there and at least get some more points to try to salvage his pennant lead.
All right, Tony Stewart sitting here. He's changed clothes, but hoping to be able to get back on the racetrack.
And another spin is off turn number 2. That's Ricky Rudd sliding around at the apron of the racetrack. Right now, there is no caution.
The left rear tire is flat on that car, we see, and now the caution flag does wave. Now here comes DJ. Can these guys get, where's DJ? He and Ken's are too far back.
Yeah, they're about, 8th in line back there, so they will not get a lap back. but the battle is on for the lead as Jeff. They were 4 abreast at the line.
I think Mark Martin backed off to let Kenseth maybe and Dale Jarrett get a lap back. And those guys behind him would not have anything to do with that. Talking about Jeff Burton, Mike Skinner, and Jeff Gordon. He said, hey, if he's going to back off, we're going to pass him. There is a gentleman's agreement not to pass each other, race back to the line, but sometimes that doesn't work.
Didn't work last week at Martinsville, Benny. I don't think it's working here today.
No, not working too good.
Here it is. As they went to the line, they're going to be 4 deep.
And I don't know who wins. I guess Mark Martin does barely beat Jeff Gordon to the line, and Skinner and Burns probably a tie for 3rd.
In any case, none of those a lap down did get a lap back. So the second caution flag here on concession has slowed the pace at the DieHard 500. Back in a moment. Out our 3rd overall caution of the day here on lap 149 at Talladega. We told you about the hockey game at 7:30 tonight on ESPN2. Well, next Sunday, the Stanley Cup playoff continues with quarterfinal action. Check your local listings or log on to abcsports.com for the game in your area. You'll see it next Sunday live at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 Pacific on ABC, home of the Stanley Cup. Bobby Labonte comes out of the pits once again. He's made numerous pit stops trying to get that car taped up as much as possible so he can complete the race.
That thing looks like a refugee from the junkyard, doesn't it?
Well, they'll keep working on that to get that body as aerodynamic as they can. NASCAR will make him maintain a minimum speed or they'll park him. Right now, he's still on the lead lap. If they were to park him for not being able to go fast enough, he'd lose 10 to 12 spots.
And Bill Weber has more.
And we just checked down here, double checked, Ray. That should be a lap time of 58.90 is the minimum speed that these cars have to turn here at Talladega. 58.90. If Labonte can't maintain that, they will park him. Jerry.
Ricky Rudd back on pit road. Apparently they had tried to repair a front fender from that previous melee involving 17 cars, and that was the offending factor that cut a tire that caused him to spin a moment ago and produce this caution flag. Ricky Rudd back on pit road trying to get all 4 tires back on the car. The fender is pulled back away so he gets to take the go forward back on the racetrack. Let's check in with John.
Sterling Marlin, who led some of the middle portions of this race, got into the back of someone during the big wreck and damaged the right front of his car. They had to use a hammer, beat down the hood on the right side, and also around the grill, they had to tape it up because there was a hole going up under the hood. So I talked to Scott Eggleston, his crew chief, to try and find out how much that would affect the car. Scott just shook his head. He says, I'm not really sure how much it's going to hurt the car aerodynamically. To Bill Weber.
John, during that previous caution for the big wreck here on the front stretch, several cars came onto pit road, but 7 cars did not. The 6, the 99, the 31, the 24, the 42, the 22, and the 26 did not pit. Johnny Benson was the first guy that came onto pit road that went out and followed those 7 cars around the track. There was some concern about whether those cars that did not pit had run through debris on the track. But now under the caution, most of the crew chiefs have confirmed with their drivers that their tires do feel fine.
So with 19 cars still on the lead lap, we are set to go back to racing. Once again, this will come out on lap number 152.
So Sterling Marlin's grill. Ray, do you think he can get enough air through that thing to cool the radiator? Looked like he'd knocked the grill back on that 40 car. We'll have to check that out.
The more it lays back, the harder it is to get air in there, Benny.
That Benny just posed.
Well, I also talked to Sterling's crew chief about that. He says, I think we're going to be okay. Although under caution, the temperature had gone up into the 220 range. We're hoping once it gets back up to speed, we're going to push a little more air into the radiator to help cool the engine down.
Cars build up speed as they hit the backstretch with Martin leading Gordon and Mike Skinner and Jeff Burton and Ward Burton. Jeff Burton goes to the high side of Mike Skinner, trying to take away the third position. His brother decides not to go up there, but stay behind Mike.
That's something. Oh, boy.
And here's a 3 wide, a couple of lap cars. Kenseth and Jarrett both trying desperately to get into a situation that they can get their lap back.
I think Ward thought about that and said, you know, I think I better go up here and get behind my brother and try to help him out, because it looks like he's struggling right now, and he is struggling right now.
Now he is up on the high side behind his brother.
Comes Jeremy Mayfield and Dale Earnhardt.
Mayfield will go to the middle lane now, up behind Jeff Gordon. And Jeff Gordon moves down to block the spot from Mayfield, but Mayfield goes up high and challenges anyway and takes the spot.
Jeff's got some help in the middle there with Matt Kenseth and Mike Skinner, though. They might be okay.
And here goes Burton by the 12th car on the outside. Man, he is really ram riding up there right on the top of the racetrack.
And they're 4 deep coming off the corner. And look who's back in this. Bill Elliott is right in the thick of things.
And they're 4 wide going in the corner. Skinner drives on the inside of Jeremy. Here comes Kyle Petty on the inside. See what happened when Jeremy had to back off the gas when Skinner went in there 4 wide?
Kyle Petty is still on the lead lap. He's shown in the 13th position. Down they come to complete another lap. All this action happening behind Mark Martin, and he's loving it, seeing those guys fight for position behind him because he just drives away. Staying right there with him, still trying to get the lap back.
Mark's going to have to be using his mirror and his spotters to tell him which one of those lines looks like it's coming with momentum. He's having a tough time trying to block both lines right now.
Here's Jarrett going to get some drafting help from Jeff Gordon, and Jarrett goes back onto the lead lap.
Now Jeff Gordon has his teammate Jerry Nadeau, the 25 car. The Michael Holligan car have team cars lined up on the inside with Mark Martin on the outside. And don't look now. Here comes Dale Earnhardt.
Yep. Got the thing way up high on the racetrack. Running in the 3rd spot. Now Gordon challenges Martin for the lead, and Jeff Gordon will inch ahead of Mark Martin through the 1st and 2nd turns, but Martin has a great run off the backstretch and retakes it. They are side by side. Bill Elliott coming through the pack once again.
And Jeff Gordon's other teammate, Terry Labonte, the Kellogg's car is pulled up on the inside. He's going to try to help Jeff out, try to take this lead.
Terry Labonte in his 650th NASCAR Winston Cup start and his 645th straight. Now Gordon has Dale Earnhardt right on his rear spoiler. Terry Labonte is running in the 5th spot, and Bobby Labonte, his brother, one of those involved in the crash, is maintaining the speed and staying on the lead lap for right now. They continue to run 3 wide back of those running up front. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. He is in 21st spot, a lap down.
Looks like Bobby Labonte this year. So far this year, it seems like with Labonte, Bobby has kind of have the charm life, because after all that damage and the crash he had, he's still on the lead lap, currently in 17th position, and the car is running well enough to maintain that position.
Yeah, he's running with Robert Presley and Dave Blaney and Joe Nemechek.
They need to get Blaney out front. He's the only one that's got a good nose on his car.
Back up front. Martin continues to hang on to the lead.
That 97 car, the John Deere car of Chad Little, is back in the 26th position, 3 laps down.
Oh, Gordon looking high, looking low, looking up high. Now pulls alongside Mark Martin, gets a good run again through the first and second banking, and inches ahead as they hit the backstretch. Dale Earnhardt will come along in second position.
Now we've got 3 Jack Roush cars lined up on the inside. Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, and Chad Little.
Chad Little is the only one not on the lead lap. He's in 26th spot, 3 laps down.
Chad's got a good car. He had a left front flat tire earlier in the race. Put him 3 laps behind.
On board with Mark Martin, 159 laps are now completed. There are the top 5. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Just a little past 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We welcome you back to Talladega Superspeedway. We've completed 162 of 188 laps in the DieHard 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race, and Jeff Gordon no longer has the lead as Mark Martin brings Kenny Irwin and Ward Burton with him. Now Dale Jarrett is the lead car, but he is at the tail end of the lead lap. It's an afternoon of racing here on ABC. At the conclusion of this event, in just about 55 minutes from now, you'll be able to see the IROC race that was held here yesterday at Talladega Superspeedway. The second of 4 races in IROC 24. That's coming up next here on ABC.
Mark Martin, the leader, looks back at the second place car. Kenny Irwin in the Bell South car. Ward Burton in third. Right now we have Ford, Chevrolet, and Pontiac, the first 3.
Kenny Irwin right now running in second position. His career best finish came at Daytona last year in 1999. Still stacked up 3 deep. Jeff Gordon and Bill Elliott running together, contesting the 5th position. Bill started at the outside of the front row, fell back to as low as 40th, and currently runs in the 6th spot.
We talked about the hole that you couldn't get in could make a big difference in your day. Jeff Gordon was about 6 inches from sliding back in line in 4th or 5th place, and now he's hung in the middle.
See, Kenny Irwin's the nose of that car. Remember at the very start of the show, he had all that tape on the grills. All that tape is gone. They peel off that tape trying to get some air to cool the thing off.
And Tony Stewart, whom we talked with not too long ago, sitting back in his coach, has rejoined the race. And what happens? He already has gotten caught speeding down pit road to go back onto the racetrack. But it's important for these guys to get out there and make a few laps because, of course, others involved in that big 17-car pileup, most of them completed the same number of laps, and if you can get back out and complete 1 or 2 circuits, then you can move up a position in the scoring, and that means more Winston Cup points. Look how quickly things can change. Kenny Irwin was second just a couple of laps ago, and now as they come down and cross the line, he'll be shown in the 6th spot.
We've got Mike Skinner, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, Johnny Benson, all these cars side by side. Here's Benson getting a great run. I thought he had a great run on the 31 car. Mike Skinner did not work out.
Benson finished 12th in the Daytona 500, led 39 laps at that race. And now Ward Burton is going to get hung out in the loose positions.
Dale Earnhardt has moved into second spot. Here comes our pole setter, Jeremy Mayfield. He's currently in fourth. Talking about that Mobile 1, number 12.
Sterling Marlin moves up to 5th. Often we see the cars get strung out and get in single file formation, but literally since the drop of the green flag we have seen these huge packs of cars. Of course now it's much smaller, but still we've got about 19 cars running right together. Here's Jerry Punch.
A moment ago, Mark Martin radioed and told his spotter to tell the 88 spotter, Dale Jarrett, to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. In other words, if DJ stays on the bottom of the racetrack, Mark will stay there because the 88 car in front of him helps him in the draft and keeps the 3 behind him. So Mark Martin will stay in line behind the 88. If the caution would fly, the 88 would get back on the lead lap. He was told DJ to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Jarrett's reply, I'll stay right here. I appreciate the help.
Bill Elliott has quietly and patiently worked his way back to the front of the pack, currently sitting in the 3rd spot. That's the same car that finished 3rd in the Daytona 500 earlier this year and also won one of the qualifying races. The crew tells me they have not tested with that car since then, but they have been to the wind tunnel and massaged the body a lot. They say the car is the same as it was at Daytona, only better.
Well, it isn't going to be too long. We got less than 20 laps to go. Mark Martin is leading, has clinched the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps in this event, and that's the 9th consecutive race that a different driver has led the most laps in the year 2000. We'll be right back. The DieHard 500 in its closing laps. 172 complete of 188, and the leader of the race is Mark Martin, followed by Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott. Completing the top 5, Jeremy Mayfield, who was our pole sitter, and the 31 of Mike Skinner. On board with Mark Martin, looking back on Earnhardt. Last lap, all top 6 cars were in excess of 190 miles an hour. The fastest was Kenny Irwin at 191.8.
Kenny Irwin won't be the fastest this time because he has Jeff Gordon alongside of him as they battle for that 7th position, 6th position. I was right to begin with, 7th.
And they were just side by side long enough to let those other guys catch up to them. They were out a little bit on them, ran side by side. The other pack caught them.
Ward Burton has had a good race. And another car comes back into the event. That is Michael Waltrip, who took a couple of really hard shots during that big 17-car pileup that we had on about lap 138. But
Steve Park also re-entered the race. I'm sorry, he's coming off turn 2.
Ward Burton in the Caterpillar car looking for a place to go. Goes on the upside of the racetrack.
I think he's getting shuffled to the rear as we speak.
Jerry Punch has more on this cooperation that is going on between Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett.
Well, as much as Dale Jarrett would like to be able to stay on the lead lap and have a caution and be able to come back and have a shot, he radioed to show the sportsmanship that DJ has. He radioed a moment ago through his spotter to Mark Martin and said, ask Mark if I'm hurting him. If I'm hurting him, I'll get out of the way. I'll be happy to get out of the way. Mark Martin's reply, nobody, stay right where you are. Stay on the bottom of the racetrack. I'm using you to hold that 3 car off behind me. You're doing a great job. Stay put.
Now here comes Jeremy up on.
A spin down on pit road. Dave Blaney smacks the inside wall on pit road.
Wow.
Man.
Sure. We saw him once before.
Yes, we did. He had to go to the grass when he came in earlier to a pit stop. And now hits the wall. There will be no caution.
Now Earnhardt has been shuffled back to about 4th or 5th spot. Skinner's moved up to 3rd. Sterling Marlin 4th. And here comes Jeff Burton with a great run.
Boy, contact there between Burton and Earnhardt. They traded paint at the end of the backstretch. We'll put Jeremy Mayfield, the pole sitter, up into 2nd position now. And here is the incident involving Dave Blaney.
Once again, he comes in too hot, gets that right rear in the grass, and look out, NASCAR inspector. Well, he goes by him. Okay, look out, guys. Look out, guys. And I believe everyone did look out.
Well, let's hope. We saw some debris bounce over the wall. Let's hope that nobody was hurt by that incident involving Dave Blaney.
If I'd have been down there, I'd have gotten hurt trying to get out of the way.
Absolutely.
Oh, here goes Jeremy for the lead.
Go. Mayfield looks up to the high side of Mark Martin, but cannot make it work. Mark Martin retains the lead. And they'll come down to complete lap number 177. Mayfield looking high, looking low, can't go anywhere.
And Jeff Gordon is back in this thing, it looks like.
Got shuffled back a few positions a few laps ago, but now comes right back up to bat alongside Sterling Marlin for 4th.
Hung on the outside there again.
And Jeff Burton once again tries to go inside of Sterling Marlin and will do so down the backstretch. With Dale Earnhardt in tow, Mark Martin is going to move over in front of Jeff Burton.
And Jeff Gordon just moved right over in front of Jeff Burton, trying to get some of that push in that 99 car. And look, it looked like it worked very well.
Jerry Punch, any injuries down there on pit road?
No, very close call. We were about 4 or 5 feet away from where the 93 car came flying by. Robert Yates is standing just below us. He dove back around the wall and caught his foot on the wall and tumbled over and hit his head. But that's why they brought the ambulance down pit road a moment ago. But I went over and talked to Robert. He's up and okay now. Walked around to taking the ambulance back away. But wow, some scary moments down here.
I'll bet so. Good to hear nobody is injured. All right, we've got less than 10 laps to go. There is Robert Yates. He's okay.
He said, I would think I will sit down though. 10 laps to go, and Jeremy Mayfield has a fast race car.
Back here to 3 wide. Jeff Burton, Terry Labonte, and Jimmy Spencer. Here comes John Andretti down to the low side of Johnny Benson.
That's 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and I don't know how many. That's
on back.
It's just a genuine mess.
9 to go. And Elliott, who was up there amongst them a few laps ago, now is at the back of this group, back in 16th position. As they continue to fight for position, Kyle Petty has had a great run this afternoon. He's 14th, and so has Wally Dallenbach in the 75. He's been on the lead lap all day and is in the 15th position.
You know, this is just, it's amazing how things work out in this business. Remember the Daytona 500 when Dale Jarrett won the race? He and Mark Martin were running 2nd and 3rd, and Mark said we had a plan to go by Johnny Benson, take the lead, and when they started their plan and something happened, DJ, he felt like abandoned him, just left him out there and went on to win the race. Mark finished about 5th, and Mark was very, very angry. Well, right now he's trying to use Dale Jarrett to win the race at Talladega. So things do have a way of going full circle in this business.
What goes around comes around.
At 32 and 17 are racing for position. They're racing for the 18th and 19th spot, 1 lap down, talking about the 17th of Kansas and the 32 off through it.
And the 25 of Jerry Nadeau is also in that battle. 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Here we go, 4 abreast. Dallenbach just drives to the inside of Kyle Petty and starts to move up in front of him, but he doesn't have him clear.
Kyle Petty finished 13th in this race last year and 19th in the October race here at Talladega. Meanwhile, back up front, it's still Mark Martin maintaining the advantage on Jeremy Mayfield, but everybody is trying to get in a better position. Now Jeff Gordon upside of Mike Skinner, and he picks up a position.
Man, oh man, and he's going to run.
Jeff Gordon now moves to 3rd spot behind Mayfield and Martin. It's Skinner back in 4th and Kenny Irwin in 5th spot. And again, the shuffle is on down the backstretch.
Jeff was always real good at watching the cars behind him and estimating that push. He keeps rolling back a little bit, letting the cars catch up to him, getting that good push.
Here we go for the lead.
Now,
Jeremy on the outside and Mark on the inside.
But is it going to work for him, because nobody is going up there with him?
And Jeff Gordon trying to go on the inside. He's on the apron of the racetrack. Here they come to the line. It's going to be Gordon. He's got Skinner right behind him.
And Jeff Gordon takes the lead here at Talladega with 6 laps to go.
And look there, still Kenny Irwin on the bottom.
4 wide for 2nd position. Now is Mark Martin. What's he going to do? He's caught in the middle, and is Jeff Gordon's car going to work with Dale Jarrett? Jarrett in a Ford and Gordon in a Chevy. Let's see what happens here in the closing laps. Kenny Irwin has moved back up to 2nd spot, and Mike Skinner is in 3rd. 2nd and 3rd position. They've never won a NASCAR Winston Cup race. They're coming down with 4 more laps to go. Jeff Gordon trying to end a winless streak.
And Skinner goes down on the grass to move into 2nd spot. He's on the inside of Kenny Irwin.
And he successfully gets 2nd spot. Ward Burton is up high with Terry Labonte, and Ward Burton slides down into 3rd position. Here they go. Jeff Gordon goes down to block the advance of Mike Skinner.
Skinner rolling back to get that push off of the 22.
Side-by-side battle for 4th position. Mike Skinner looks like he's got a good run coming off corner number 4. We'll see what he can do. And there's Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt running in the middle of this pack now. Well, Skinner can't make an advance here. They're going to come down and complete lap number 185. We've got 3 to go at Talladega.
And here comes Jimmy Spencer. Remember this Kmart Ford? He went so strong earlier today. He's fought his way back. He's now to about the 7th or 8th spot. Well, here comes Earnhardt. That's going to slow the progress. And here they go. Irwin trying to get on the inside. Can't make it. Oh, some contact between the 31 and the 24. Now, TJ moves over and says, let these guys go and figure out who's going to win this thing.
He says, gentlemen, battle it out for yourselves, but we'll leave it all to you. All right, Gordon. Now looking at just 2 laps to go. Everybody stays in line, and Jeff Gordon takes about a 1-car length advantage over Skinner. Jeff Burton will head for the high line. Let's see who goes with him. It'll be Spencer. Wow. Who will win it, ladies and gentlemen? Take your pick. Again, Kenny Irwin down to the inside.
Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, has won, what, 49 races? The 31 car of Mike Skinner has never won a race. I'm talking about a NASCAR Winston Cup points-paying race.
Yep. They remain in the same order.
Well, and this time Gordon comes up the hill. I thought Skinner could not quite make it.
And they're looking at the white flag. We've got 1 more lap to go at Talladega. Jeff Gordon completes lap number 187 in the lead. Skinner is 2nd. Kenny Irwin down on the low side in 3rd. Burton up high and losing spots. Can Mike Skinner make a move? And can Kenny Irwin make a move? They're down the back stretch for the final time. Gordon keeps the car low on the racetrack. Nobody makes a move yet. Will anyone make the move before they hit the start-finish line? Now Kenny Irwin looks to the inside of Mike Skinner. Nothing going there. Dale Earnhardt is up on the high side. In the battle for third position. He's got a good run up there.
Remember what Mike Skinner said? He'd wreck his mother to win a race?
Let's see what happens. Gordon has the lead as they come down through the tri-oval. And Jeff Gordon is back. He's going to win the DieHard 500. And as they cross the line, you can see the finishing positions. Skinner, Earnhardt, Irwin, and Spencer complete the top 5, and Jeff Gordon breaks the winless streak. Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Robbie Loomis has been on top of the pit box, swarmed by his crewmen, by John Hendrick. Handshakes all around. A very, very happy moment down here. Congratulations on winning at Talladega. Jeff Gordon's 50th career win comes with Robbie Loomis as crew chief.
I tell you what, Jeff's really tough competitor, and you know, I knew coming in this deal it was going to be tough. We've been through a lot of ups and downs. Brian Weitzel did a great job with the car, and Randy Dort and Charlie Seegers with the engines. Just an awesome job by the pit crew today. You know, we've gone up and down, but I'd like to dedicate this win for Lee Petty and my folks at home too.
Congratulations. See you in victory lane. An emotional win for Robbie Loomis, his first as crew chief for Jeff Gordon, the 9th different winner this season, and he comes from deeper in the field than anyone to win in history, 36 to 1st.
Jeff Gordon and the new Rainbow Warriors are back. They have watched their driver take the checkered flag here this afternoon in Talladega, and they have seen Jeff Gordon win his 50th NASCAR Winston Cup event and breaks a 14-race losing streak that dates back to last October at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte. Let's go to victory lane. Our McDonald's Winner's Circle interview. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
And listen to this crowd of 170,000. Jeff Gordon gets out, hugs his wife, Brooke. Tears of joy. They have wanted this one. They have struggled this year. Their first top 5 coming last week in Martinsville. Will climb back up here, giving John Hendrick a big high five. A big cold swig there. Jeffrey, congratulations. Outstanding effort. But, wow, those final laps were something.
Man, I tell you what, first I just want to thank God. You know, we've overcome a lot of things, and you know, this team just never lost faith in themselves and God, and that's the only thing that got us through this, and I just thank him for all those things. But this team and this crew chief, Robbie and Brian Weitzel, these guys just did an awesome job. I tell you, you know, we qualified horrible, but the second we got out there on the racetrack, the DuPont Chevrolet was really, really good, and I told these guys we can just stay out of trouble, you know, and be real patient. We'll work our way to the front, and it took a while. I tell you, I was getting frustrated back there in the back for a while. I'd come up a few spots and go way back, and once I got to the top 10, I tell you what, this thing was just incredibly fast.
Mark Martin, very strong. A lot of people doubted anyone could handle him today.
Well, you know, when it starts shuffling up like that towards the end, you start getting some big pushes, and you know, I learned from the best, Earnhardt, and I didn't want to see him come up through there because he's the toughest guy there is to race with at these places because he's so good with the air. And I learned a lot of things from him. They paid off today, but can't do it without this great car. And all of our sponsors want to, again, thank DuPont Automotive Finishes and Quaker State Pepsi, Kellogg's, GMAC, Chevrolet, and Goodyear.
Jeffrey, a landmark 50th career victory. Go celebrate.
I will be. I tell you what, I can't wait for the weekend off, and we got one coming up. This has just been quite a blessing. I tell you what, to get back in victory lane, it feels awesome. For it to be 50 and such a great day, I tell you, it is emotional. It's sending chills up my spine right now.
The records are falling here in NASCAR. Jeff Gordon's 50th career victory and the 9th different winner in 9 races here in the year 2000, Bob.
Earlier this year, Rusty Wallace won his 50th, for there are now 4 tied with 50 wins. Wallace, Gordon, Wallace, Jarrett, and Johnson. More after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
The biggest news in
DieHard 500. That's right, the Rainbow Warrior back in the winner's circle for the first time this season. First of all, to the end.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, where Jeff Gordon has won today's DieHard 500. The margin of victory, 1900ths of a second in the last 5 DieHard 500s going into today. The average margin of victory was 1700ths of a second, so today was just about average. Let's go down to John Kernan.
Well, Mark Martin did not win the race. You were out for a lot of laps, led the most laps, Mark, but the big picture, you took over the points lead.
Well, we raced as hard as we could for it. I'm really pleased with the Eagle One car. Valvoline Cummins' team has worked hard on our plate stuff this year. 4 cars, 4 tests, and it showed today. We had a good run, and the 12 car was awfully fast, and he's about to die to win another race. It's been a while, and he made his move earlier than I would have liked for him to, and it wound up costing us both. It didn't work for him, and it didn't work for me either, and I hate that for him because he was strong, and hate it for us because we were in good position, but can't blame him, man. It's been a while since he won a race, and he went for it.
Mark Martin made almost all the right moves today. Now let's go to Bill Weber.
And that's Dale Earnhardt. You did come home third. An entertaining but frustrating day, I imagine.
Yeah, I just soon race 500 miles at 500 laps at Martinsville to do this again. It's just beating and cramming, and just can't go anywhere. You got no throttle response. It just tied the cars down with that small restrictor plate. They need to take the restrictor plate off and open the front ends up and get the, you know, spoilers way up on something to slow the cars down, dirty up the cars or something. This is not racing. This is definitely not racing.
And not a lot of help today, really, for anybody that stuck with anyone.
Well, you couldn't. I mean, every man for himself, and somebody get a run, they'd have to take it. And it was just a shove and go and push and shove, and it's just terrible to have to race like this. It's just, it's really not racing. It's chess playing, and see who comes out on top after everybody gets beat around.
Okay, Dale Earnhardt finishes third here at Talladega, where Jeff Gordon picks up his first win since Charlotte last fall. We'll be right back.
The celebration continues in victory lane here at Talladega. Jeff Gordon has won, and he came from 36th starting position. That's the lowest start ever for a Talladega winner in 62 races. The previous lowest was 27th starting position. Dale Earnhardt last October. Down to Jerry Punch with Kenny Irwin, who finished 4th.
And records his best finish of the year, Kenny, from 12th to 4th. Did you have anything at all those last laps for the 24 car?
I don't think so. You know, I was really trying to help the 31 get up there, and you know, we're just doing everything we can. The last 10 laps, it was wild. Just trying to pick my spot to keep inching up and not going backward. It was fun. The whole Bell South crew, they did an awesome job. All the green flag pit stops. I mean, you just can't say enough. I think we come in 15th and we come out 3rd, so they did an awesome job.
Did you let yourself think about the possibility that today could have been your first win? I mean, Gordon had won before, but you and Skinner were looking for that first one. I know you wanted it badly.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think about it. You're just trying to put yourself in a position the whole time just to inch up there. And a couple times, I think Sterling was leading, and I wanted to run second. And sure enough, I pulled out of line, and nobody went with me. And I think I went back to 25th. But it's kind of a cycle all day. You go back, come forward. It's just actually it's a lot of fun. It's pretty intense, but it's a lot of fun.
Congratulations on a great run.
Thank you.
Kenny Irwin finishes 4th. Speaking of finishing second, I think John Kernan has caught up with the second place finisher, Mike Skinner.
Mike Skinner finished 2nd today behind Jeff Gordon. Mike, did you have anything there at the end?
Well, we had a second place car as best I can tell. Car drove really good all day. Pit stops were awesome all day. You know, we couldn't get anybody to pit with us, and finally Jimmy Spencer elected to pit with us. We were going to run out of gas on the next lap. We had to pit, and we got one car to pit with us. We ended up coming back out and doing okay, and was really headed toward the front, and caution came out. So everybody gets bunched up, and you just start over 2 or 3 times. And you know, I thought Mark Martin had the car to beat, and you know, our car was awesome on the bottom all day. We elected to pull a little bit higher gear, and the car was really good on the bottom. And when Jeff dove under him there, I was able to go with him, and that's about all there is to it.
Congratulations to Mike Skinner, who records his best career finish. He had finished 3rd on 3 different occasions, but today's runner-up position eclipses that. The International Race of Champions, race number 2 of IROC 24, is coming up next here on ABC Sports as we wrap things up from Talladega. Races to begin the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup season, and we also have a new points leader. Mark Martin gains a spot and takes over the lead from Bobby Labonte. Ward Burton stays in third. Dale Earnhardt moves up a spot. Jeff Burton down one. Dale Jarrett gained a spot. Jeff Gordon moved up 5 with his victory. Rusty Wallace dropped 2 positions. Jeremy Mayfield stays in 9th, and Terry Labonte moves into the top 10 in the point standings. And speaking of Bobby Labonte, here's Bill Weber.
And it's a good-natured but frustrated Bobby Labonte. You've had some great days this season, but this was not one of them.
Well, no, but it could have been a lot worse. I tell you what, I looked at the car afterwards. We could have busted the radiator, got the oil pump or something like that. And unfortunately, the guys worked real hard, got it back out there. We lost 1 lap and, you know, just were able to get back some positions there that maybe we didn't deserve being involved in a big wreck like that. So good day or bad day, at least we finished up 21st, which wasn't all that bad.
A difficult day all around, though, let aside from the wreck, because there was tremendous traffic.
Well, yeah, I mean, we just rode around the back all day. Never raced until about 3 laps before that wreck happened, and I guess I should have waited, you know. And
what were you waiting for back there?
Well, yeah, that's pretty well put like that. But, you know, it's just one of those deals, and, you know, sometimes you're involved and sometimes you're not.
Okay, Bobby, thanks a lot. We'll see you in California.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, that's Bobby Labonte. He's currently 2nd in points, 24 behind, and obviously a difficult day for him. They were hopefully hanging at the back of the race pack and avoid any trouble that might have come up, but that wasn't able to occur. Let's go to John Kernan.
And a great run for Jimmy Spencer today. Jimmy, from a fan's point of view, that was a heck of a race, but what was it like for you in the driver's seat?
Well, the most important thing, John, is the fans enjoyed this race. And if I was paying $50-$60 for a ticket, I want to see a good race, and they saw one in the DieHard 500. For us, it was very stressful, you know. For us to come from about 14th or 15th the last 2 laps and get 5th, I'm really happy with the Kmart crew. And, you know, we led the race today. We had a really good car, and the guys did a great job at the shop and here. This car's never been practiced or tested. Only had 3 or 4 laps of practice before qualifying. So the Kmart team worked hard for this thing. And, you know, Carl Haas and Travis haven't given up on us yet. And Carl's out in California. I know he's watching this. So good luck today, Christian and Michael. And, you know, thanks for supporting us.
Of course, he's talking about the kart race out in Long Beach, back upstairs.
Good run by Jimmy Spencer, coming home in the 5th position here this afternoon. We'll be back to wrap things up from Talladega in just a moment. Jeff Gordon wins his 50th NASCAR Winston Cup event. Back at Talladega, ABC Sports is online at abcsports.com, part of Go Network. Well, Jeff Gordon has the win here today in a hard-fought DieHard 500, with Skinner recording his best career finish in 2nd position.
And we see the top 15, all those cars in the lead lap. As a matter of fact, 16 cars will finish today in the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap was Wally Dallenbach. Ray Evernham, I got one question. What do you think of watching the race at Talladega from the booth? It's a little different, isn't it?
Well, going on to be a car owner next year, I'm probably going to wish I hadn't have done this. If those car owners could see this, they'd be a lot more nervous. But what a great race. Jeff Gordon is certainly a great drafter, and I believe he does have eyes in the back of his head.
Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
Well, guys, it was a typical day here in Talladega. High speed, high banked action, lead changes all around, you know, and everyone talks about the big one, and indeed it did come on lap 139, involving 17 cars. That wreck may not have changed the outcome, but did one thing today, and that is change the points lead. The car behind me, Mark Martin's Valvoline Ford, dominated the afternoon. He didn't get the win, but he does walk away as the leader of the NASCAR Winston Cup points. Let's go to Bill.
Well, Jerry, here at Talladega, Jeff Gordon finally got to victory lane. It took him 9 races to get there, and during that time, Gordon was always very pleasant. He always put on a good face. He tried to absorb all the pressure, knowing most of the time the pressure was squarely focused on Robbie Loomis, his new crew chief. But Gordon took that pressure away from Loomis so he could focus on the car and the team, and I think that's one of the keys to them getting back to victory lane. It's the fact that Gordon was not only driving the car, he was helping drive the team while Robbie could focus on their mission, getting back to victory lane. It all paid off today. John?
And for those of you watching on ABC Sports and don't know that I do a nightly motorsport show on ESPN2 called RPM Tonight. After the Daytona 500, I was very critical of the lack of competition. Well, NASCAR made some rules changes, and what we saw today from a fan's point of view, I thought was one of the greatest races in quite some time. And Monday night, 6 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2, join myself and Benny Parsons for RPM Tonight, and we will dissect today's race, and we're going to have a lot to talk about upstairs.
Well, both yesterday in the Busch race and today here at Talladega, we did see almost all afternoon in both cases huge groups of cars running together and some very, very good competition.
It was fantastic. Yes, but you're right, both yesterday and today.
Jeff Gordon continues the celebration. That's the third Chevy win of 2000. We mentioned he started in 36th position. It's only the 6th race in NASCAR Winston Cup history that a driver has started from lower than the 36th starting position. So a big win here for Jeff Gordon today. Everybody was totally focused on getting to the front and making sure they were in the right position for the end. But a good run can be cut short by many things, including this huge 17-car pileup. Fortunately, though, there were no injuries in the accident. The average speed of the race was 161.156. Jeff Gordon led 25 of the 188 laps. Mark Martin led the most here this afternoon. Well, this has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence. Now to our Wide World of Sports studio in New York. And here is your host, Robin Roberts. So long from Talladega.